Chapter 1251. When they woke up the next morning, the 9 little guys didn't go anywhere after breakfast. They went back to their own yard to discuss things. At noon, they came out for a quick meal, and turned around to go back. In the evening, Xiao Bei came back with a book in her arms. She set up a carriage and negotiated with her brother. In the end, she left in a daze. The next day, the result was the same. On the next day, Xiao Bei ran to Zhang Xiaobao as soon as she came in. She opened her arms and hugged Zhang Xiaobao's neck. She said coquettishly, "Brother, you must be very busy with domestic affairs recently. You must be very tired, right?" "It's okay," Zhang Xiaobao said as he leaned close to his sister's face. "Don't lie, we all know. Brother, how about this, you rest first. It's just a small problem of children playing Monopoly outside. It's not worth your trouble. Sister will do it with you, right?" Xiao Bei continued to hug her brother's neck. Yes, it's the same whether I talk to your sister or not." Zhang Xiaobao stood up and hugged Xiao Bei and spun 2 rounds on the ground. Xiao Bei giggled for a while. After landing, she looked at Wang Wan. "Then is it the same if we talk to my sister?" "It's the same. You talk, I'll go rest," Zhang Xiaobao said to his sister with a smile. "Goodbye, brother." Seeing her brother go to another room, Xiao Bei waved her hand and turned to Wang Wan. "Sister, let's start the negotiation now, okay?" Wang Wan nodded and pursed her lips into a smile. "All right. Let's talk. Last time, your brother said that he allowed you to get intelligence and military maps at the price of 5,000 strings of coins per 10,000 square kilometers. However, you must gather 85% of the foreign children in this 10,000 square kilometers. For every percentage point less, you have to pay an additional 1,000 strings of coins. At the same time, you will also be given 26% of the shares of other domestic monopoly games. However, you need to taste the real foreign food and develop a series of food that domestic children are willing to accept. At least 50% of the children will like it. For every percentage point less, your shares will also be reduced by 1 percentage point. Everything else remained the same. Your older brother directly agreed to all of your requests. He didn't make any changes based on your requests. Instead, he added our side's conditions. You have to understand that if it were anyone else negotiating with your brother like this, your brother would definitely not make such a concession. Allowing your conditions is a loss to his own interests. Now tell me, what do you want to talk to me about?" Wang Wan made things very clear. Xiao Bei represented the 9 of them, and made one request after another in exchange for more benefits in the negotiations. Zhang Xiaobao did not directly discuss Xiao Bei and the others' conditions. Instead, he came up with new conditions. It was impossible for the same thing to happen in a real negotiation. The other party's conditions would definitely be the most beneficial to the other party. A very important part of the negotiation process was to suppress the other party's conditions, even if they did not understand the effect of the conditions on the mutual benefits of the 2 parties. Wang Wan kept looking at how Zhang Xiaobao nodded no matter what conditions Xiao Bei put forward. Then he put forward his own additional conditions, weakening the benefits of Xiao Bei and the others again. When it came to spoiling and training his younger brothers and sisters, he showed his level. Not everyone could use additional conditions to make up for the loss of benefits caused by the main conditions. Wang Wan also knew that Zhang Xiaobao did not take the negotiations proposed by his younger brothers and sisters seriously at all. Every time they negotiated, he would deal with them as they came. And all of this was not to say that his younger brothers and sisters were weak. If it were someone not in the top-ranking list of billionaires negotiating with Xiao Bei and the others, they would definitely be tricked by Xiao Bei and the others and suffer a big loss. Don't think that children are easy to fool. You have to see how they were raised first. The people who followed Xiao Bei and the others, except for Li Yilong, were all elites from the inner courtyard. There were people who specialized in conspiracies, people who played open schemes, people who knew economics, people who understood politics, people who planned battles, and people who were familiar with human nature. Xiao Bei and the others learned by themselves. Occasionally, they would pull someone from the inner courtyard to have a discussion with them. After so many years, if they could not learn anything, how low would their IQ be? Wang Wan could say with certainty that the people assigned to her younger brothers and sisters were better than the people who followed her and Xiaobao, especially the two fast shooters who guarded the two guards. Now there were 4 of them. She and Xiaobao did not have a single one by their side. They were all given to their younger brothers and sisters. Therefore, Wang Wan felt that at her younger siblings' current age, she could not be too indulgent and flattering. She should suppress them when she needed to. It just so happened that they came looking for her, and as expected, they were casually suppressed by their older brother, Xiaobao. That kind of understatement and unrestrained additional conditions that he proposed were the most hurtful. She believed that her younger siblings would work harder in the future and not be arrogant and complacent. Now that Xiaobao was sent away, she had to complete this task. She was also casually nodding and agreeing to her younger brothers' and sisters' conditions. She also gave additional conditions. Otherwise, if she was weaker, Xiaobei and the others would feel that they were more capable. It would be easy for them to suffer more losses. Xiaobei did not know why she was constantly suppressed by her older brother's negotiation techniques. She and the other 8 siblings did not understand their older brother and sister's painstaking efforts. They wanted them to have confidence, but not be arrogant. They just wanted to have a little advantage in the negotiation. However, it had been 3 days. She was very serious in the negotiation, but her older brother dealt with it like it was a game. What was the problem? Xiaobei thought. She looked up and saw her older sister's smiling eyes. She twisted her body and smiled embarrassedly. Okay, sister, yes, we are afraid of brother. We finally know why the merchants of Tang Empire are so honest. We thought and thought until our heads hurt. In the end, brother casually said something. When I went back and thought about it with them, I found that I was at a disadvantage again. In the end, we felt that we made a mistake, a big mistake. Yes, a mistake. So? Wang Wan asked with a smile. So we decided to change the negotiation rules. According to Xiao Yuan, instead of stopping the boiling water, it is better to take drastic measures. We found the wrong opponent to negotiate with previously. It is the biggest joke in the world to play economic games with brother. We are using our shortcomings to attack his strengths. To sum it up, we are stupid. Xiaobei was very calm. Since her older brother had promised not to participate in the negotiation, he would not go back on his words. Even if her older brother heard what she said in the room next door, he would not come out to the negotiating position again. It was just like how her older brother disdained to use administrative means to solve economic schemes. In the past few days, the 9 of them went to visit. Most of the merchants said that they were afraid of their older brother, not because of his position, but because of the confidence that her older brother had when dealing with them. If he did not use administrative means, they would not be her older brother's opponent. That administrative order that could be used at any time was like a loaded bullet that had not been fired. It was like swimming on their own. They were not afraid of how deep the water was, but they were afraid of not being able to find the bottom. Administrative orders were the simplest method, and could easily solve any economic scheme. However, if her older brother did not use them, no one could guess how many methods her older brother had, and how profound his way of doing things was. Indeed, the unknown was the scariest. Wang Wan looked at the changing expression on Xiaobei's face. She seemed to think of her sister's concerns and admiration for her older brother, so she said, "Did you guys adjust the negotiation strategy and use a trick to lure the enemy to change the leader? It looks like you guys are treating me as a pushover. Tell me, what is the content of your negotiation today?" Xiaobei shrunk her neck and stuck out her tongue. Her eyes kept rolling as she shook her head. "No, I just feel that sister is better than brother. Brother is not giving in at all. Be careful that your older brother won't cook for you guys tomorrow. All right, let's see if I can give in today's conditions." Wang Wan touched and pinched Xiaobei's face as she spoke. Xiaobei sat up straight, looked at the folder she had brought, and said, "All right, regarding the conditions raised by brother yesterday, we have the following ideas. For every 10,000 square kilometers of map provided by the intelligence department and the military department, we should not pay 5,000 strings of coins. This is because everyone knows that it is impossible to use military maps in a child's Monopoly game. Military maps are top secret. We ask that you treat some of our partners according to the actual situation. We have protected your military confidentiality system, but your fees are too high. Furthermore, when we release the game locally, we will definitely obtain new local intelligence, more detailed and specific information. Children are not tight-lipped. Therefore, in exchange for the exact information we can obtain, we will reduce the cost of all map modifications. At the same time, due to the geographical constraints of the objective traffic situation, where can we find 85% of the children? If you insist, I need you to fully equip the early stages of transportation infrastructure. As for the second point, we believe that the 26% shares we can obtain is too little. In other words, we lack the understanding between partners to let 50% of the children like to eat foreign food. Because after continuous trials, we believe that more adults will like to eat the foreign food that we have researched. Therefore, we ask that you increase the shares given to us in other Monopoly games. Otherwise, we will ask that the adults in the country are not allowed to eat the foreign food that we have researched after trying it. After Xiaobei finished speaking, he looked at his sister without blinking. They had discussed for a long time last night before coming up with targeted conditions, and they were very convincing. Now that brother was not participating in the negotiations, he wanted to see how his sister would respond. Perhaps he could gain a huge advantage. Wang Wan still smiled and nodded. All right, we accept all of your requests. Xiaobei immediately sighed when he heard this. He knew that it was over. His sister's tone was too similar to his brother's. In the past few days, he had already known that when his brother agreed to his conditions without hesitation, the additional conditions he mentioned would cause him to lose a lot of benefits. His sister definitely knows how to. Ha, you businessmen have been deceived. The demoness cuckoo in your eyes is not only good at fighting. Just as Xiaobei was worried, after Wang Wan agreed to the conditions, she said to Xiaobei, "We fully support your pursuit of benefits. Similarly, we also have our own interests." Say it, I am mentally prepared. Xiaobei lowered his head dejectedly. Under normal circumstances, when an adult saw Xiaobei like this, they would be soft-hearted and give in. However, Wang Wan knew that now was not the time to be soft-hearted. Her younger brother and sister negotiating with her, and Xiaobao was a child acting coquettishly and showing off to adults. If it was too easy for them to gain recognition in terms of knowledge, they would very likely put their thoughts on other aspects in the future. Taking a deep breath, Wang Wan glanced at Zhang Xiaobao, who had half of his head peeking out from another room. She said to Xiaobei, "According to the advantages you mentioned, we require you to summarize a piece of useful information from the foreign children every day. At the same time, we no longer require you to recruit 85% of the children, but you need at least 20% of the children to be convinced by you within half a year to acknowledge our Tang Empire. You also need to convince 10% of the parents to change their hostile views towards our Tang Empire. As for the second point you raised, under the condition that we agree, the share distribution will be calculated according to the proportion of the adults who specially order the foreign dishes in each restaurant. You can send financial supervisors to calculate, and then distribute according to the net profit ratio of the foreign dishes sold. You can have 50% of the shares." I knew it would be like this. Anyway, there is still a lot of time before we can really sell the Monopoly toy to the foreign world. We are not afraid. We have already prepared for a long and difficult negotiation process. I will remember it. When I go back, I will discuss with them. I can't put all my thoughts on the negotiation and delay other things. It is not worth it. I am going back now. Brother, where are you? I am leaving now. Xiaobei found that things were not different from what he had guessed. He let out a long breath and admitted this fact. He yawned and prepared to go back to his courtyard. Zhang Xiaobao came out from the room next door and carried Xiaobei downstairs. Wang Wan followed to send him off. At the back door of the first floor, Zhang Xiaobao said to his sister, "I heard that the prefectural school will hold a table tennis competition for all children between the ages of 7 and 13. If you have time, go and take a look and support the sports development of Tang Empire. Then will we come back for dinner tomorrow?" Xiaobei was very afraid of eating outside. If the food was not delicious, he had to pretend that he liked to eat. It is not easy to be a public figure. Xiaobei sighed like an adult. Zhang Xiaobao kissed his sister's face and patted Xiaobei's head. Tomorrow, I will ask someone to send food over. Take it as supporting the sports development of Tang Empire. Out of the 8 dishes, you can choose any 4 dishes. 2 meat dishes, 2 vegetables and 1 soup. Okay, I'm leaving now. Xiaobei skipped away. Wang Wan looked at Xiaobei's departing figure and turned to Zhang Xiaobao. It is not easy for the younger brothers and sisters. As public figures, they are invited to participate in all kinds of activities almost every day. Unlike us, others know that we have to think about the war and domestic affairs, so they do not dare to invite us. The children of aristocratic families seem to be very happy, but they are actually busier than ordinary children. After a few days, it is up to them. If they feel tired, they can tell others not to invite them in the future. Otherwise, they will be like celebrities and have to appear in all kinds of situations. Zhang Xiaobao nodded. Suddenly, he felt that something was wrong. After thinking about it, he coughed and said to Wang Wan, "What era are you talking about public figures? What era are they?" Wang Wan was stunned. Then, she rolled her eyes at Zhang Xiaobao. "Why do you have such a strong resentment for that era?" Yes, public figures must be able to perform the specific actions that his or her identity in front of the public represents to society. The social role you embody is to promote purity, so you cannot perform any actions that are pure. You want to create an artistic image for the public, so you feel that you cannot reveal your erotic nature. You want to let the public know what honesty and justice are, so you cannot be corrupt or take bribes. Are you planning to criticize them? Criticize the public figure of that time for not being in line with his or her specific actions and promoting social concepts. But you have to know that existence is reasonable. Under the circumstances of a special social period, there are bound to be some special social behaviors that survive in the soil. Zhang Xiaobao shook his head, looking as if he had been wronged. I didn't say anything. I was just asking. Knowledge. I ask as I learn. What makes you think you can judge me? But I agree with a part of what you just said. Do you agree that it is reasonable for public figures to perform under certain circumstances, when they do not perform as they wish? Wang Wan asked. No, I agree with what you said before. For example, if there is a prostitute in a brothel, she must ensure that she has not been groomed by a man. Otherwise, she will immediately be removed from the list of prostitutes. I actually admire the women from more than 100 years ago. When they debuted, they took off their clothes. That was their public image. I don't think there is anything wrong with that. But I am very disgusted by the fact that they spent tens of thousands of dollars to invite women from other countries who sell their bodies. They just have to talk about art. This is clearly a kind of blasphemy to their identity as a prostitute. Zhang Xiaobao continued to criticize as he explained. Watch your mouth. Be careful of offending people. What if you meet someone like Wang Bei who is unrepentant and insists on making trouble for our family? Actually, what you just said is related to the education of the local officials. Back then, it was not like now. If the officials did something immoral, they would be pointed at and scolded on the street and blushed. The officials back then were successful in their cultivation. Okay, let's not talk about the things back then, okay? Let's talk about Xiaobei and the others. I was serious about what I said just now. I have really decided to use Xiaobei and the others' game of Monopoly to attack the national spirit of the other countries. He was already used to Zhang Xiaobao's cynical personality, so he changed the topic and talked about the national spirit of the other countries. Zhang Xiaobao pondered for a moment and said, I know. I also support it, and have been doing it. Just like the long-term strategy that the United States used against China, they used all kinds of methods to destroy the history, culture, and beliefs of the Chinese people. The simplest method is economic. Yes, the United States was very successful. Some people were attracted by the beautiful foreign economy. They did not think about how long China had been established. They only saw the wealth of the United States and the various domestic problems at that time. But in fact, the United States was also a failure. The Americans seem to be unable to understand our nation. We scold and love at the same time. When we have nothing to do, we scold to our heart's content. But when faced with a life and death situation, we will stand up and use our lives to support our nation. I used to think about it, and later I felt that this was the survival of the Chinese people. All the ancient civilizations had disappeared, so why did China still exist? It is because this nation is very different. Their nobility makes the world blush with shame, and their despicable level embarrasses themselves. It is a contradictory combination. It is also because of its uniqueness that its civilization and spirit have been passed down. Then what you mean is that now we also want to see what situation the people of Tang are in now? Wang Wan asked. No, I want to see if we can help the other ancient countries to perish in advance and then be reborn. The reborn countries do not even have their own civilization spirit. I will help them to reorient themselves, such as learning our Chinese civilization and becoming a part of us, Zhang Xiaobao said with a smile. Chapter 1252. The next day, Xiaobei and the other 9 kids went to the government school together. It was an ancient school that had been around for more than 100 years. Many talents had been produced and recorded. Now portraits were hung up for future generations to admire. Were there any villains? Yes, but villains weren't qualified to be painted, let alone be hung there. The government school used to be located in the center of the city. Now because of the expansion of the city, the location of the state capital was shifted, and the school was shifted as well. It was similar to the state capital, but it was slightly renovated. It wasn't an unspoken rule that officials didn't renovate the yamen. In the past, the government didn't renovate the yamen. The officials would rather be greedy than renovate the yamen. They would be scolded by the people, criticized by their colleagues, and impeached by the imperial censor. Now the yamen was renovated as much as possible. The officials had to work in a comfortable environment, and the rooms for receiving the people also had to make them feel no pressure when they came in, as if they were at home. The reason why the yamen and school weren't renovated immediately was because they were going to move. Izhou planned to further expand the city without the city wall. The city wall was no longer useful, and there was no need to leave it as a cultural relic for future generations to see. If future generations wanted to travel, they wouldn't come just to see what the wall was, right? What needed to be left for future generations was a kind of spirit, a series of knowledge, and a rich and beautiful land. The yamen and school were going to be moved out of the city. They would be renovated in the city. Now there were more and more people, and it was too crowded. Outside the city, they were building a base, designing the water and sewer systems, spacious streets, and towering buildings. There were 4 stories tall, and each household was very large. There was quite a lot of space between the buildings. Then there was the library, the garden, and the open-air market. After Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan came over, they felt that life was too leisurely, so they suggested to do it locally. They also helped to design it. Because there was no electricity, gas or natural gas, they still had to burn coal. The buildings were designed with special flue pipes. The reason why the distance between the buildings was enlarged was that it was convenient for the people to communicate with each other. They didn't want to lose the warmth of neighbors because they lived in the buildings. The library wasn't for everyone to study. There would be all kinds of newspapers, chess, and cards in there for a period of time. At that time, the people living in the building would come out to bask in the sun, go to the library to chat, discuss national politics, and scold uncivilized behavior. When the sun was about to set, they would go to the market to buy some food to cook. In order for people to be willing to move in, they would have to relocate the government office and school. Next, they would have to relocate the manpower market and small commodity wholesale market. If there were still not enough people, they would have to build a new stadium nearby. Of course, there would also be a movie theater that would play Li Longji's image first. It was a very conventional method. Not to mention Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, anyone from their generation would have done this. This kind of urban management and relocation knowledge was no longer knowledge, but common sense. Unless the person who came did not care about the common sense of society at all, then there was no other way. He believed that such a person would not be able to survive in this era. When Xiaobei and the others arrived, they saw the dilapidated courtyard and buildings in front of them. Why isn't anyone paying to fix it? What were the authorities thinking? It's fine if it's broken, but it actually caused the prefectural school to break as well. Also, Why didn't the merchants give some money when they saw that it was a prefectural school? The children in the school don't have it easy either, right? Li Yilong put her hands on her waist and shouted in front of the school. The faces of the officials in the school and the government office immediately turned ugly. Xiao Bei and the other 9 people moved a few steps to the side, meaning to tell everyone that they were not in cahoots with him. No matter how poor we are, we can't be poor in education. No matter how hard it is, we can't let the children suffer. The children are our rising sun. Everyone is responsible for the children's education. It needs all of us to protect and contribute. Isn't that right, Xiao Bei? Xiao Bei and the others hid, but Li Yilong did not plan to let them go. After she finished speaking, she asked Xiao Bei. Everyone's eyes turned to Xiao Bei. Xiao Bei turned his head to the other side, as if he was very interested in the ants that were moving insects on a bluestone at the school entrance. Is it going to rain? The ants are moving. After everyone waited for a while, Xiao Bei finally spoke. Xiao Yuan cooperated and walked closer, squatting down to look. He turned back and said to Xiao Bei, "It doesn't look like it. It's a group hunting operation. The ants are very united. I don't know if they will follow when the school moves to a better place in a while." Li Yilong was more embarrassed and said, "Xiao Yuan, you didn't hear what I said just now, right? The school is too dilapidated." "Didn't you hear what I said? The school is about to move. The new prefectural school is much better than what we see now." Xiao Yuan felt that there was a problem with Li Yilong's IQ. Li Yilong was scolded and her face turned slightly red. She defended herself. "When did this happen? I don't know. Look at the local newspaper. Are you Principal Zhou? Hello. It's not the first time I've heard of you. You value the health of the children very much. You often let them participate in exercise. It has a great promoting effect on strengthening the physique of the children in our country. You have worked hard." Xiao Bei said to Li Yilong, turned around and smiled. He went forward and shook hands with the principal. In his heart he complained. The school was not repaired, but the road at the entrance was repaired. It was full of potholes. What if the children fell? It was better to lay a layer of fine sand. Principal Zhou didn't know that the little guy opposite him was giving him face. He really thought that he did a good job. He raised his hand to touch Xiao Bei's head. After Xiao Bei dodged, he said with a smile, "I haven't done enough. According to the Yaman's instructions, we have to further improve the physical fitness of the children in the school in the future." With Principal Zhou's words, I believe that the future of the school will be beautiful. The learning life of the students will be happy. When will the table tennis competition start? Xiao Bei was really unwilling to talk nonsense with him. "Immediately, please. When the children are ready, it will start immediately." Principal Zhou realized that the expression in Xiao Bei's eyes was not very good. He quickly got to the point. Xiao Bei and the others were about to step in when someone suddenly appeared nearby and shouted to Xiao Bei, "Xiao Bei, can I ask you a few questions?" Everyone looked sideways. The person who shouted quickly introduced himself. "I'm the information collector of Izhou newspaper. I want to ask you a few small questions." Xiao Bei thought of the reporter in the story and waved him to come closer. He looked back at the other 8 brothers and sisters, took a deep breath, and the corners of his mouth curved up. He showed a professional smile and said, "Go ahead." The reporter was very happy and said, "My surname is Wang. You can call me Collector Wang. First, I want to ask you a question. Everyone knows that you came here with Xiao Bao and Cuckoo to attack the Arabs. Do you think we can win?" The reporter, surnamed Wang, asked this question with good intentions. He wanted to let the readers of the newspaper know that the Tang Empire could win through the interview. Xiao Yuan and the others felt sorry for Xiao Bei. They hated it when people asked such questions. It was hard to answer. Xiao Bei was in charge of foreign affairs, so he was troubled. At this moment, Xiao Bei showed his professionalism. The expression on his face did not change at all. He was still smiling and said, "The soldiers and soldiers of the Tang Empire are united like a family. No matter what difficulties we face, we will overcome them together. As the country develops, I believe that the future will be better." Reporter Wang was dumbfounded. He looked up and scratched his head. He thought about it as fast as he could and asked, Xiao Bei, can I ask you a second question? We all know that the Japanese are coming to the Tang Empire, and there will be a lot of them, including their leader. Some people say that we invited them here as a form of deterrence and warning. What do you think of this? The world is the world of the people. Regardless of whether it is an individual or a country, there is a need for communication and cooperation. I look forward to the Tang Empire having a deeper understanding and communication with more countries. In terms of culture and economy, we can exchange what we lack and improve together and develop together. Xiao Bei replied and looked at reporter Wang, indicating that he had finished speaking. Reporter Wang choked. Was this what I asked? If he thought about it carefully, there was indeed a connection, but why did the answer make him feel so uncomfortable? Xiao Bei, thank you for your answers to the previous 2 questions. Let me ask you a third question. It is said that the cannons of the Tang Empire are very lethal, and the Ministry of Works is still researching even more powerful offensive weapons. Can you introduce these cannons and future weapons to us? What effect will their existence have on the surrounding countries? Reporter Wang continued to ask. He didn't believe that he couldn't get something practical out of Xiao Bei. Xiao Bei's eyes moved and he nodded. Just like what I said before, the Tang Empire is willing to have many exchanges with other countries. We place emphasis on peace. As everyone knows, the Research Institute of the Ministry of Works has developed many technologies that are beneficial to the country and the people. These technologies have made our lives more prosperous, and at the same time, they have the effect of maintaining peace. When the surrounding countries communicate with our country, they have also benefited from our technologies. I firmly believe that in the future, the research results of the Ministry of Works will have a deeper impact on the cooperation between countries. Gatherer Wang, the competition is about to start. Why don't we go in together to gather information about the competition? Seeing that Xiao Bei had answered the 3 questions, Xiao Yuan immediately said to Reporter Wang. Reporter Wang wanted to bang his head against the wall. Other than the people from the Zhang family and Wang family, everyone else was in a state of confusion. They were all trying hard to think. What was Xiao Bei talking about? He was asking about the outcome of the war, the threat to the Japanese, and the level of the country's weapons. But wasn't what he said too general? It was soft and powerless. Xiao Bei looked at the expressions of the people around him, and was also depressed. What do you want me to say? You want me to say that it's very easy to invade other countries? Other than killing them, I'll capture the rest and make them slaves? You want me to say that the invitations to the Japanese and Xinhua are not only threats, but you can also take advantage of them leaving your own country to use this opportunity to do as much damage as possible? You want me to say that it's easier to kill people with cannons than using knives to kill chickens? Not only are the cannons now very powerful, but the gasoline bombs that the Ministry of Works is going to develop will also cruelly kill the enemy during positional warfare? Can I say this? I'm a diplomat. I have to protect the country's positive image. No matter how dirty the things I do are, I have to make it sound dignified. If you ask me in private, I might tell you the truth. Now it's going to be in the newspapers. If I let you have your fill, how disappointed will my brothers and sisters be? I, Xiao Bei, am the most outstanding diplomat in my brothers and sisters' eyes. The group of people walked into the school in a depressed atmosphere. Xiao Yuan held Xiao Bei's hand and praised him. Your answers are too beautiful. You're really like an antelope hanging horns. If it were me, I definitely wouldn't be able to answer such vague questions. It's okay. It's just so. Basic skills. Yes, basic skills. Xiao Bei smiled like a flower and said modestly. When the team arrived at the competition venue, the contestants and the audience were ready. There were not only children in the audience, but also adults. They were probably not busy with work today, so they came to accompany the children to watch the fun. Executive Zhou went up to speak first. He spoke for more than half an hour, from when the academy was first established until now. At the same time, he thought about tomorrow and blessed the motherland. Now let's welcome the Tang Empire's inspector to speak. Executive Zhou invited Xiao Bei and the others. Xiao Bei glanced at the several officials who were waiting for him to continue speaking. He came to the podium and waved to everyone below, which was greeted with cheers. Then he said, Today, we are very happy to watch the competition. At noon, my family will send food. There are 8 dishes and 1 soup. Everyone can choose 4 dishes, 2 meat and 2 vegetables. We will eat with you. Now I announce that the competition begins. After Xiao Bei finished speaking, he went to find his seat. The children below cheered again. And the officials who were waiting to speak were stunned. Men and women covered their mouths and laughed. Zhang Fang rolled her eyes at the officials and muttered, "Let you speak? After you finish speaking, you will have lunch directly. After the competition, you will have dinner." Executive Zhou didn't know what to do. He trotted to the officials of the yamen and said, "Well, everyone, can you go up now and say something? Didn't you hear that the competition has started? Start." One of the officials scolded, thinking that Executive Zhou was really unreasonable. Xiao Bei said that the competition had started, but he still dared to come and ask them. He didn't know what Xiao Bei would think if he saw his action. He would fire him later. Later, tell Xiao Bei that our yamen is responsible for providing the fruit platter. Now ask someone to prepare it. Buy the good fruits and cut them. After scolding Executive Zhou, the official ordered the people around him. He clearly saw that Xiao Bei glanced at this side, and then Executive Zhou just returned to the podium and said that the competition had started. Would Xiao Bei think that she had already said that the competition had started? But it was useless. She had to ask him. "You are the local official. You are the boss. I can't suppress the local snake. It's over, it's over. I was tricked by that guy surnamed Zhou." The competition started, but the official was still worried. His eyes swept over Xiao Bei from time to time. No matter what Xiao Bei did, he felt that it was directed at him. After thinking about it, he was still worried. He leaned over to Xiao Bei and said to him with a smile, "It's really hot. Just now, Executive Zhou asked me before the competition started whether I should prepare a few umbrellas for you. At that time it was not hot, so I said no. I didn't expect it to be hot again. Do you want to hold up a few?" Xiao Bei's eyes were on the small table tennis table. He casually replied, "No, we are still young. Staying in the house all day long is good for our health." Yes, I also think that not being in the sun is bad for our health." The official echoed and finally felt relieved. The competition on the field continued. It was a best-of-3 system. The children played very seriously. The 4 tables competed at the same time. From time to time, cheers could be heard from the audience outside the field. When the sun rose a little higher, Xiao Bei arranged for someone to send out free soda. It was iced. She had heard from her brother and sister that children could not drink carbonated drinks for a long time. They were restricted at home. Therefore, when she came outside, she would drink 2 bottles if she had the chance. It was delicious. When she drank it, her tongue was numb. Time passed in a trance. Noon came. The winner of the last table was decided. The top 16 were decided. After lunch, they would rest for a while before continuing. As a public figure, even if she was eating with others, she could not stop. Xiao Bei first ate 2 taels of rice with the dishes to fill her stomach. Then she picked up the plate and began to walk around. Xiao Yuan and the others were basically in charge of one direction. They ate with the other children, said a few words, showed concern about their learning and living situation, praised and encouraged them, and then walked to the next place. "Your name is Mao Mao, right? It's a very nice name. It's as nice as my Xiao Bei." Xiao Bei came to the side of a girl who had entered the top 16. The 11 children were eating around the folded round table. After Xiao Bei came over, she squeezed in and sat down. The girl called Mao Mao by Xiao Bei changed her fierce style during the competition. She was very shy. When she heard Xiao Bei speak, she stopped eating and looked at Xiao Bei, waiting for him to continue. "You played really well, especially smashes. When the ball flew high, you smashed it. When the ball flew low, you still smashed it. You actually smashed it quite a few times. I observed your serve. The opponent always missed it easily. You added spin, right?" Xiao Bei continued speaking. At the same time, she lamented in her heart. It was not easy for her. She had to know a little of everything so that she could find common topics with others. "Yes, I added spin. When I was at home, my father specially hired 2 people who were good at basketball to be my masters. Many of my classmates don't know how to spin, so it was easy to beat them. Mao Mao became cheerful with a topic to talk about. That's great. You've done us girls proud. There are 2 girls in the top 16. You have to continue to play steadily and strive to get first place. Your father is really good to you. Did your father come to watch your competition too? Xiaobei could tell that Mao Mao's family had a good life. Otherwise, who would specially spend money to hire 2 people to be their daughter's teachers? Xiaobei asked very casually. Who knew that Mao Mao's eyes would turn red when she heard it? Your father didn't come? He doesn't care about you? Xiaobei asked softly. Mao Mao shook her head. There's a problem with the family's business. The stock is almost unable to support it. Father said that he went to the bank to get a loan. I'm not sure if he can get it. Stock. Xiaobei's eyes turned. He couldn't understand. What kind of goods could be suppressed in today's society? Recently, it was the peak period of consumption that her brother had mentioned. If they wanted to sell goods, they could sell them. Yes, stock. We have to pay a lot of money every day. If we don't use money to buy things, the goods will starve to death, Mao Mao said. Starve to death? What work? Your family sells slaves? If you can't sell them, you can let the slaves work or rent them out. Xiaobei helped to come up with an idea. It's dogs. They're like the dogs raised by people who live in the grasslands. They help with the herding and can fight with wolves. They eat a lot of things every day. In the past, my family raised sheep and cows. Later, my father learned how to raise dogs from others and started raising dogs. Now the dogs are very big, but no one buys them. After Mao Mao finished speaking, she held her chin and fretted. How many dogs? Can they herd sheep? Xiaobei wasn't worried. To her, as long as it was a problem with money, it wasn't a problem. 10,000 more than 13,000, Mao Mao replied. How many? Xiaobei was shocked. Although he had more dogs at home, his family was rich. How much money did Mao Mao's family have to be able to raise 13,000 herding dogs back then? There had to be a place, right? After Xiaobei asked, she didn't need Mao Mao to repeat herself. She comforted. Don't worry, it's fine. Isn't it just 13,000 dogs? I'll invest. Let's cooperate and keep raising them for a few more months. Then, I'll talk to your father after I see him. Chapter 1253. When Mao Mao heard Xiaobei agree, the worry in her heart disappeared. She immediately promised Xiaobei, I will definitely get first place in this afternoon's competition. I will show the other boys that we girls are better than them. First, we must be first. This friendship comes first. Xiaobei wanted to say that girls were better than boys, but she suddenly remembered her identity. She was afraid that she would put too much pressure on Mao Mao and not perform well, so she could only say something official. However, Xiaobei said, You have to perform well, show yourself and respect the spirit of sports. What's your surname? What's your father's name? Xiaobei was not in the mood to tell Mao Mao what her surname was, or what her father's name was. She asked very straightforwardly. She still had to negotiate later. There were more than 13,000 dogs. She had to take good care of them. Many puppies would appear in 3 or 4 months. If she grasped the opportunity, she could make a lot of money. Xiaobei had not been in a good mood for the past 2 days. She kept finding trouble with Xiaoyuan. Xiaoyuan had no choice but to find her family's doctor. After observation and diagnosis, she found that she was under too much pressure. To a large extent, it was caused by the negotiations with her brother and sister. In fact, it had only been a few days, but Xiaobei had never experienced such a difficult negotiation. More importantly, it was difficult for the 9 of them. As the target of the negotiation, her brother and sister had nothing to do. They dealt with the military, political and economic information on time every day. Then they ate and slept well. When she woke up this morning, she even heard 2 people running to the rooftop. One was playing the guitar, the other was playing the piano, and they were singing Swallows Fly together. It was too much of a blow. She had to prove herself in other ways. Xiaobei and the other 8 siblings had been thinking about what to do to divert their attention. They wanted to temporarily break away from the vicious circle of negotiations with her brother and sister, and redefine themselves. The doctor said that her psychological behavior was not normal now. She needed psychotherapy and wanted to send a professional doctor to help. In the end, Xiaobei and the others refused. They did not need anyone's help. They could adjust themselves. Xiaobei thought that she had found an opportunity to cooperate with Mao Mao's father. Then in the next 6 months, they would invest, raise, breed, train, migrate, rent or sell. In this way, she could temporarily get rid of the pressure brought by her brother and sister. Mao Mao did not know that Xiaobei had her own difficulties. Xiaobei looked at Xiaobei's excited expression and thought that she had thought of a good idea to help her father. Then he said, "My surname is Song. My father is Song Dakong. Xiaobei, are you going to lend me some money?" "I'm not lending. I just said that we're working together. Borrowing money is for a moment, and working together is for a long time." After saying that, Xiaobei felt like he was lying to Mao Mao, so he continued, "It's easy for me to lend money to your family, but your family's development is still slow. Why don't you work with us? Our channels for obtaining information are different. It may seem like your father's share of the profits is relatively small, but in terms of absolute profits, it is much more. I don't understand. In any case, I believe in you. You won't harm my family. If even you want to harm my father, then the great Tang will have no hope," Mao Mao said very seriously. "Of course, we can do wrong things with a kind heart, but we definitely can't do right things with a bad heart. Brother and sister don't care if we fail to help others. At most, they will be responsible for compensating for the loss, but they won't allow us to build our success on the pain of others," Xiaobei promised Mao Mao. She knew that after her group of children did something, there would always be brothers and sisters helping to clean up the mess. Even if they knew that they were not doing well enough, they still supported them from behind. The purpose was to train the 9 of them. The prerequisite was that they had to put their hearts and minds in the right place. "My father should be here in a while. The person in charge of the loan at the bank will be resting at noon." Mao Mao was afraid that Xiaobei would be anxious from waiting, so he said this. "I'm not in a hurry. You play well. I'll go somewhere else to take a look." Xiaobei ate 2 mouthfuls of rice and 4 mouthfuls of dishes at this table. She picked up the plate and continued to walk to another table. After lunchtime, Xiaobei and the 9 of them finally had time to rest. She asked someone to bring them a bowl of hot soup and finished the food on the plate. Each of them held a large pear and listened to the Yamen officials who had also finished eating speak on the stage. At the same time, they pondered over what Xiaobei had just said. Mao Mao's father hadn't arrived yet. She really couldn't wait. She could only look for him personally after the table tennis competition ended. Officials really talk a lot. They don't stop talking. 4 or 5 meters in front of Xiaobei and the others, a man's complaining voice sounded. As soon as this person finished speaking, another person beside him said. They wanted to say it before, but Xiaobei said that the competition had started first. They didn't dare to say anything. Now that they're resting, if they don't say what they've prepared beforehand, wouldn't it be a waste of time? I don't object to their words. When children play, they say that children are good. What did you hear them say? Economic construction. My child is only 6 years old. Do you want him to carry bricks? Speaking of economic construction, it's better to talk about the safety of children's meals. My child came home a few days ago and told me that when we ate at school, half of the salted duck egg was smelly. The third person turned his head and complained to the 2 people who had spoken earlier. Xiaobei and the others' attention couldn't help but be attracted. How could they give smelly eggs? When I was young, I liked to eat smelly salted eggs the most. If they weren't smelly, I wouldn't eat them. At that time, they were all smelly. We're poor. My 2 children are like me. They're willing to eat smelly eggs. In the future, when your children encounter smelly eggs, they can exchange them with my children. It's fine if the salted eggs are smelly, as long as the meat isn't. The second person who spoke retorted the third person. While speaking, the sound of saliva swallowing could be heard. It seemed that he really liked to eat smelly salted eggs. Xiao Yuan, have you eaten salted and smelly eggs? Xiaobei was very curious. Why did people like to eat smelly eggs? Xiao Yuan shook his head. No, the ones we eat are not smelly. The yellow ones are oily. I heard that brother's guard at the door say that there's someone in the kitchen who specially marinates the smelly salted eggs. It seems that the eggs are marinated for a period of time. Why don't we go back to the kitchen and ask? Try a few. It's probably similar to stinky tofu. Anyway, it's marinated for more than 28 days. Seems like there's no problem with the school's food. Xiao Bei had just eaten and wasn't hungry. He didn't think too much about the smelly eggs for the time being. The three people who had spoken earlier seemed to have found a topic and began to discuss the smelly salted eggs. Some said that if there wasn't enough salt, the eggs couldn't be eaten. Others said that the eggs that had been taken out to dry under the sun couldn't be eaten. As they spoke, the topic went astray. From the salted eggs under the sun to the deterioration of the ham under the sun. From the deterioration of the ham to the deliciousness of the air-dried chicken. From the air-dried chicken to the roast duck of Sanshui County. From the sweet sauce of the roast duck to the shredded meat that could be used to make the sweet sauce. From the shredded meat in sweet sauce to the planting techniques of green onions. From the need to bury them deep in the soil so that there would be more green onions. From the deep soil to the yam eggs. From the yam eggs to the potatoes that hadn't been popularized yet. From the potatoes to the benefits of foreign species. From the benefits of foreign species to the practical use of plunder in war. From war to artillery. Speaking of artillery, the person who had spoken first began to comment on artillery in an authoritative manner. It's indeed powerful, especially when used against man-eating cavalry. Once it's fired, even the horses would be scared off. The people on top would fall down like dumplings. I've thought about it before. It's powerful, but it's too expensive. How many bullets can one shell make? The imperial court should use more bullets to hit people. That's not right. How can bullets be compared to shells? How far can bullets fly? How far can shells fly? Shells explode everywhere. It's hard to say if the bullets can hit people. Current guns can only shoot up to 500 meters, while shells can fly up to 1,000 meters. The third person who spoke commented like an expert. The first person who spoke was unconvinced. Who told you that bullets can only shoot up to 500 meters? You're talking about pistols. Long guns can shoot up to 3,000 meters, and shells can fly up to 7,000 to 8,000 meters without a problem. Xiao Bei and the others looked at each other and communicated with their eyes. In the end, they confirmed that this person was talking nonsense. The best pistol at home could shoot up to 130 meters, while the average one could shoot up to 40 meters. The furthest one could shoot up to 170 meters. Long guns could indeed shoot further. The furthest one could shoot up to 2,500 to 600 meters, with a killing range of 1,400 meters. This kind of gun was very rare. Most of them required a killing range of 100 to 400 meters. The special sniper rifle at home could only shoot up to 1,100 meters. That didn't mean that it could shoot as far as it could accurately shoot the enemy. Xiao Bei and Xiao Bei had said that the manufacturing of guns was still not accurate. They relied on many imprecise situations to produce an accurate gun by chance. Or it could be specially modified later. With the addition of a scope, it could only shoot up to 800 meters and have a higher hit rate. Usually, they pursued an accurate sniper shot up to 400 meters. Moreover, good marksmanship at this distance did not require a scope. As for shells, they could only fly up to 4,000 meters, which was the furthest one could go. Usually the guns used could not shoot as far as guns, such as grenade launchers, small infantry cannons and mortars. When the 9 people felt that the 3 people speaking were interesting, they continued to listen to them. Don't argue, don't argue. The second person who spoke tried to persuade them. Anyway, we don't know. I only know that the weapons of the Tang Empire are powerful. Xiao Bao and Cuckoo would rather spend more money than to let the soldiers pay with their lives. Speaking of the real source, I think it's the transportation cost. Due to the confidentiality of the technology, they have been transported from Luzhou, Jili province, and the capital to the front line. I heard that the munitions factory is going to be placed here and at the seaside. When the time comes, there will be a lot of soldiers guarding it. There are many places we can't go. Even if we want to visit, we have to check 8 generations of ancestors. We are not allowed to bring anything with fire or dangerous metal pieces on us. That's right. You can't even bring a needle. The first person who spoke continued, I know. There's a needle at the back of the gun. If you poke it forward, the bullet will fly out. You want to bring a needle over and make the bullet fly out? You know, I'll join the military training tomorrow and touch the gun. I'll tell you when I come back. The third person still didn't like the first person. The two of them had quarreled just now. The second person who spoke began to persuade them again. Go. I found that after the transported things are put down, the things that have just been robbed or excavated are transported elsewhere. The transportation is switched section by section. The road here is not easy to travel, whether by water or land. After the last section is finished, many cars and boats can't go back immediately. The cars need to be repaired, the boats need to be checked for wear and tear, and the animals need to rest. Generally, the animals need to rest for 10 days before they can go on the road again. Is it because they can't do anything with the extra 10 days? Animals need to rest, but people don't. People just need to sleep. As a result, there are more idlers. As a local, I'm afraid that they will cause trouble. I'm also worried. They need to eat. I'm worried that the price will be raised. But this can't be helped. Maybe we can only solve part of the problem when the munitions factory is built here, the first person said. The third person didn't continue to argue with the first person. Instead, he said, if I have a business, I'll hire them temporarily. Anyway, they have nothing to do. They have good stamina to do transportation. Let's stop talking. The officials have finally finished reading. The competition is about to start. The top 16. Haha, this group of little guys is so nice. The second person sat up straight and looked forward to the start of the competition. I'm going to pee. The third person stood up. Let's go together. The first person followed. After sitting up straight for 2 seconds, the second person also stood up. After listening to you, I also feel suffocated. I didn't drink much water just now. The 3 people left, but Xiaobei and the other 9 people couldn't focus on the competition. Xiaobei turned his head and asked the inner court next to him, are there many people staying in Izhou to repair the boats and carriages? Yes, and there are also people who drive the animals. The road is not easy to travel, so the animals can't go back immediately. They need to grow fat. It takes about 10 days. As for the donkeys, they don't need to rest for too long. Their bodies can recover, but donkeys have bad tempers. The inner court answered. Xiaobei thought for a while and then asked, can't we ask them to work? The situation has just started, so other logistics are still transported from nearby places. The cannonballs in the distance were transported before and were escorted by soldiers. Later on, people started to use manpower. It will take about a month at the earliest to arrive. Maybe after a while there will be more idle people. However, it's not easy to recruit local people. Excluding their rest time, they can do other things in less than 8 days. The inner court answered again. Stupid. How can it be a waste of manpower? Xiaobei felt that 8 days or even 7 days was a lot. The main problem was that for people who only transported goods, they only had a little free time. In fact, there was a 7-day periodic labor overflow in Izhou. It was like a part of the money from the bank was never taken away. Xiaoyuan, do you think it will be helpful to us if we make good use of them? Xiaobei asked Xiaoyuan, who was closest to her. Xiaoyuan lowered her head and thought. Xiaohai suddenly said, we need to choose the type of work well. The longest continuous cycle can't exceed 7 days. It's suitable for short-term, non-continuous work, such as dockside porters or construction site porters. In fact, farming is also fine. We can hire many people at once and plow a large area of land in a short time. But now, the farming season has passed. If we change to embroidery, breeding, hotel service, carving, wine and other industries, it's not suitable to ask them to work. The other 8 children nodded. They felt that Xiaohai was right. If they wanted to use this labor force, they had to consider clearly what they wanted them to do. After a while, the top 4 were decided. Xiaobei's eyes lit up and she suggested, according to what Brother Xiaohai said, let them participate in the construction site porter work. Brother and sister have designed a new city area and are lacking manpower. Why don't we find them and let them work for 7 days? The other locals can do other things. What do you think? If you agree, we have to do it quickly. Otherwise, others will beat us to it, especially brother and sister. If they think of it first, we have nothing else to do. How can we continue to negotiate? Let's take a break. It's tiring. You didn't directly negotiate, so you won't understand the frustration. In the beginning, I hoped that brother would miscalculate the benefits. Later, I settled for the second best, hoping that brother would fight over the details of our negotiation. That would mean that brother had no other choice. Dreams are beautiful, but reality is cruel. Even if it was sister, none of my expectations were realized. It's difficult, really difficult. Why don't one of you give it a try? Xiaobei looked at Xiaoyuan. Xiaoyuan quickly shook her head. I know without trying. We feel that it's difficult now. Back when brother and sister were younger than us. How difficult was it when they went to negotiate with that bunch of officials? That bunch of old fogies were all smart. We feel that we can't handle this little bit of pressure. How did brother and sister persevere? Everyone praises brother for being a serial schemer, but wasn't the situation back then continuous? Who was the opponent? Every time brother and sister gave in, they would definitely leave behind an opportunity to advance. Countless times, they took advantage of losses to achieve what they have today. If we want to reach brother and sister's height, we have to suffer even more. So what if it's difficult to negotiate with brother and sister? If it really doesn't work out, we can give up on negotiations and ask directly. Brother and sister will give it to us. Back then, brother and sister couldn't give up. Thinking about it this way, do you feel better? Alright, when we can compete with brother and sister in a battle of wits, we can go anywhere in the world. Now there's an opportunity to integrate the surplus labor force produced during the transportation process, due to objective conditions. We'll let brother and sister see that we're still very powerful. Xiaobei's mood had indeed improved. Wasn't it just that they felt that they had failed in the negotiation because they couldn't get any benefits? What was the big deal? Their opponents were very, very impressive. They were brother and sister who could fight with the entire imperial court officials, including Uncle Emperor, and win. After thinking it through, the 9 little fellows began to arrange people to keep an eye on the various transportation teams, and pull them together to provide labor output to the construction site. They themselves were waiting for Mao Mao's father, Song Dakong, to appear quickly. This way, they would have 2 new business deals and increase their own advantage in the process of negotiating with brother and sister. The competition was still going on. The 3 parents who had previously said that they were going to the outhouse did not go back. They gathered together to talk. Big brother, the 2 of us cooperated pretty well, right? Did we reveal any flaws? The second person who spoke asked the first person who spoke. The first person who spoke wiped the sweat on his forehead and shook his head. I don't think so. I believe that with the little ancestors' intelligence, they should be able to think of recruiting people to work. It's really not easy for little master and little lady. On one hand, they're attacking Xiaobei, little master and little master, and on the other hand, giving them new hope. Big brother is right. Everyone says that our Xiaobei and Xiaoyuan are very powerful. There's also Daonan and Xiaonan, Xiaoqiang and the others. The common people think that they're all good. They only think that it's magical and good feng shui. Only we know how little master and little lady educate their younger siblings. Have those adults who think that their children can't compare to other people's children ever thought about how much they've sacrificed? In fact, it's like planting crops. Leaving it alone and carefully tending to it will definitely result in different results. The third person who spoke sighed. He was also so nervous that he was sweating. If the little ancestors had seen through him just now, not only would he not be able to complete the task that little master and little lady had asked him to adjust his younger sibling's mood, it would even make the little ancestors feel even more sad. How's the other aspect? Will Song Dakong spill the beans? The first person who spoke, who was also the big brother, asked. The 2 people shook their heads. One of them said, "It shouldn't be wrong. Last night, little master deliberately asked someone to set up a trap, and made an agreement with Song Dakong. The little ancestors gave people a lot of pressure, but they didn't give people pressure from themselves. They gave people pressure because of Little Master and Little Lady. Who is Song Dakong more afraid of? That's right. Let's wait for the news. We've made a contribution. I hope the little guys can grow up well. My child is about to be born. When he's born, I'll directly send him to the department in charge of parenting in the inner yard. I estimate that after 10 years, even if he can't compare to the little ancestors, he'll be close to them. When the big brother talked about his unborn child, his eyes were full of gentleness. He was very confident in the education system of the inner yard children. I'm a dog breeder. I'm short of loans. I can't raise dogs anymore. I'm a dog breeder. I'm short of loans. Outside the prefectural academy, Song Dakong kept repeating the same sentence in front of a small mirror in his hand. He had been practicing since last night. After sleeping in a daze, he started to repeat it again in the morning. But he was still worried. He was indeed a dog breeder. And he was really short of money. He needed a loan, but he was not in a hurry. He used to provide funds for 4 schools at the same time. He took 6% of the total funds provided by the society for each school. Moreover, he used money to build roads and simple bridges for several villages. With the receipt, he could easily get a loan from the bank. But Song Dakong didn't want to do that. 6 years ago, when he planned to invest money in the Chaoyang operation, he never thought of getting a loan through this. He just felt that since he had money, it was right to help more children. He helped people to build bridges and roads, and it was very comfortable to hear a word of praise. If he had to do that today before he got a loan, he felt that it was demeaning to himself. He was willing to spend money on the children, but it was not for any benefits. He planned to find someone to borrow some money to get through this uncomfortable period of time. Who would have thought that Xiaobao would send someone to find him last night? He asked him to tell his daughter that he would get a loan, and then come to see her. He said that with his daughter's playing skills, there was a great chance that she could attract Xiaobei and the others, and thus pave the way for him to appear. There were 2 other people who had also received the mission. One was a herdsman in the northern area of Hebei province. Later he moved his family to Izhou, and now he was not doing well. The other was a man who had a lot of contact with the Turks in Fengzhou, and raised eagles and hounds at home. 3 years ago, he came to Izhou with 5 eagles. Xiaobao told him not to be surprised or excited when he saw the 2 of them. Perhaps he wouldn't be able to meet them, or perhaps he wouldn't be able to connect with Xiaobei and the others. In that case, he would have to act 1 or a few more times until they connected. That was because his 13,000+ dogs were very useful. So now was the time to test himself. He had to be steady and treat it as the first time he met Xiaobei. In fact, it was the first time he met Xiaobei. He had to be like a normal person. No, a normal person. He repeated it twice, and then went in. Song Dakong kept encouraging himself. As expected, he repeated it twice in front of the mirror, took a deep breath, and walked into the school. Chapter 1254. Xiaobei and the others waited and waited until the 3rd or 4th place was decided. When the 1st and 2nd places were decided, Song Dakong appeared where Mao Mao was just now. Mao Mao held the racket in her right hand, and was about to serve when she suddenly turned her head, and saw her father standing there, and waving his arms. She immediately revealed a big smile. When the referee blew the whistle, she threw the ping-pong ball up high. At the same time, she leaned back slightly to the right. When the ball fell more than 10 centimeters away from the table, she suddenly twisted her body and waved her arms. The ball spun at high speed to the right and landed on her table. Then it jumped to the table diagonally opposite her opponent. The first time the ball deviated a little, but when it landed on the table, the ball bounced to the opponent's left. The opponent was a little boy. Without waiting for the ball to bounce too far, he stretched his arm forward and swatted it back. It seemed that he was not a mediocre player. Mao Mao turned sideways and pulled her right hand up from her leg. When the ball flew over, it just happened to hit the racket. She increased the strength of her wrist and pulled the ball up, but at an even faster speed. It drew an arc and fell to the table on the opponent's right. Seeing that he could not directly hit the ball back on the table, The little boy quickly moved his feet one step to the right, facing the falling ball. Not only did he not pull it up, but he cut it down. Using the spinning force of the ball, he chopped the ball back along the net. Mau Mau swatted the ball back. The moment the racket touched the ball, her wrist trembled, and the ball was pushed to the little boy's left hand. The little boy supported his left foot and used his waist. His right foot stepped in front of his left leg. His right hand swatted down again, and the ball flew to the corner of the table on Mau Mau's right. Mau Mau quickly took 2 steps back, giving her right hand time to swing and pull the ball up again. The two sides played back and forth. It was a thrilling game. Xiao Bei's eyes widened. He stood up and said in surprise, "Is this a children's competition?" The opponent seems to have a good family education. Either that or he's talented. It's not easy for Mau Mau to win. Xiao Yuan was also surprised. He had played a few times and knew that it looked like the two sides were hitting the ball back and forth. They wanted to make the opponent lose their position and be unable to exert force. In reality, every time he hit the ball, not only did he have to face the opponent's spinning ball, but he also had to hit the ball back according to the direction of his own design. If it were him, the ball would have flown away by the time he hit the ball. The two sides fought back and forth on the field, and the score was very tight. In the first round, Mau Mau won by a narrow margin with a score of 17-15. And then the second round began. Is that Mau Mau's father? Xiao Bei didn't want to be affected too much by the competition, so he looked elsewhere. Suddenly, he saw an adult at the spot where Mau Mau had been standing. He raised his hands and shouted, so he guessed who it was. More or less. Shall we go over? Little Yuan suggested. Let's go. Hurry up. Who knows? Mau Mau might end up winning both rounds. If we turn back, it'll be too chaotic. Xiao Bei called out and ran towards that direction from the aisle that the crowd had deliberately left open. The other 8 people followed behind him. When they squeezed near Mau Mau's father, the score on the field was Mau Mau 17-18 behind the opponent. In a 15-goal game, they actually played such a high score. The intensity of the competition between the two sides was evident. Excuse me, are you Song Mau Mau's father? Xiao Bei asked Song Dakong, who was staring at the stage. Wait a moment. Didn't you watch the game? Song Dakong had forgotten the purpose of his visit. He clenched his fists tightly and hated that he couldn't turn into a racket and fly over to help his daughter. He didn't want to hit the opponent's ball to the side of the table, making it impossible for the opponent to catch it. As they spoke, the score on the field came out. Mau Mau had lost 17-19. That brat doesn't know how to give in to my daughter? Her father wants to marry me? Dream on. Look at how my daughter is being bullied. She's sweating all over, Song Dakong said with a gloomy face. Xiao Bei and the others were speechless. The two sides knew each other, so it looked like they were going to marry each other. Boss Song, respect, do you understand? Playing nicely with Mau Mau is a form of respect for Mau Mau, just like my brother and sister. When the two of them are idle, they will argue, but my brother never gives in, Xiao Bei said to Song Dakong. The two sides on the field were taking a short break, drinking some water and wiping off their sweat. Song Dakong finally had the time to look at the person who was talking. When he heard her mention brother and sister, he suddenly realized that the one who liked to talk the most was Xiao Bei. He thought of his mission and asked, "Then who won the argument between your brother and your sister?" There was no winner or loser in the topic they were arguing about. As they argued, the topic would deviate very far. In the end, they found a common topic and began to discuss. Mau Mau, do your best. Don't be afraid of losing. Do your best. Xiao Bei had just said a few words when she saw that the third round was about to begin. It was also the deciding round. She jumped and shouted, and Xiao Yuan and the others cooperated and shouted together. Song Dakong didn't think about the collaboration, and waved his hand. On the field, Mau Mau looked at her opponent and smiled. It just so happened that she was the one who served. She suddenly switched the racket from her right hand to her left hand, squinted her eyes, and said in a voice that her opponent could hear, "Not bad. It looks like your family found someone to specially train you. You were indeed very tenacious before, but did you know that my left hand is better than my right? Now the game officially begins." The little boy on the opposite side looked at his own 2 hands and was stunned. The game just now was already hard enough. It was too awkward for the opponent to suddenly switch hands. It couldn't be played like this. He hadn't studied how to deal with the spinning ball played by the left hand. Who in his family collected the information? I protest. The little boy raised his racket and shouted at the referee. The referee made a hand gesture to signal for the game to be paused. He approached the little boy and asked him. After that, he softly communicated with the little boy and retreated, indicating that the game should continue. The little boy looked depressed. It looked like his protest was ineffective. Mau Mau threw the ball and pushed it with her left hand. The ball bounced twice on the table. The little boy caught the ball and it flew away. Mau Mau, aren't you supposed to serve the ball? Why aren't you turning it? The little boy picked up the ball and returned it to Mau Mau. Normally, catching a spinning ball was a 100% success rate, but usually there was only a 50% success rate. This was because when you caught the ball, you had to turn it back. If you made a wrong judgment, the success rate would not be as good as in theory. There was a high possibility that the ball would fly away. Just now he wanted to turn it back, but the opponent didn't turn it. All is fair in war. Mau Mau didn't show any mercy. After that, she served the ball again. This time, when the racket touched the ball, it suddenly tilted back. At the same time, there was a pulling action. As a result, the ball rolled forward and spun down. The little boy made a horizontal cutting action to block the ball. He made a wrong judgment, and the ball flew away from the top. Then Mau Mau showed his power and made the opponent eat 7 balls in a row. The little boy didn't get the right to serve and fell behind 0-7. The 8th ball was finally caught. Just as the ball was pulled to a far angle on the right side and hit Mau Mau's right hand, Mau Mau directly hit the little boy's left hand with his left hand. The little boy couldn't adjust and lost the ball. Just now, he was at the right corner of his table and pulled the far angle. Now that the ball was spinning, he had to run back and step with his right foot and pull up with his right hand. But he didn't have the time. He had already lost his position. The little boy was not used to Mau Mau's left hand. He understood that the left hand didn't mean that he was good. If he knew how to play, the opponent would face the same situation as him. If his position was uncomfortable, the opponent would also be uncomfortable, unless the opponent used 2 hands, but that was not allowed. Do you need me to give you a handicap? After playing for a while, Mau Mau was leading 12 o'clock and still had the right to serve. The little boy lost miserably. When he heard Mau Mau's words, he hesitated for a moment and showed a disdainful expression. Give me a handicap? Isn't it just a left hand? Next time, do you think I can't afford to lose? Serve. The two played back and forth. The little boy was affected by his mentality and played worse and worse. In the end, he lost 0-15. It was a clean loss. The audience couldn't believe what they saw. The first 2 games were so fierce. How could the third game be so obvious? Mau Mau didn't look too happy when he won the game. Instead, he said to the little boy, "My father wants to talk about cooperation with Xiaobei. Maybe he will leave Izhou in the future. My brother, sister, and I will have to go with him. We can't play with you." The little boy was stunned. Winning or losing the competition seemed so insignificant at this moment. He felt very sad and asked, "Didn't we agree when we started school at the beginning of spring? When it rains during summer vacation, we'll go catch loaches and make them eat tofu. If you leave, I'll take the servants at home to catch loaches?" It was Xiaobei who said to cooperate with my father. You know that my family is short of money now. Mau Mau was also in a difficult position. Your father shouldn't have raised dogs. It's better to raise cows and sheep like my father. I will find my father and ask him to give your family money and not cooperate with Xiaobei. The little boy said angrily. Impossible. Xiaobei wants to cooperate with others. Who dares to disagree? Look, they are talking. Mau Mau pointed at his father's position. There were a few children there. I'll go find Xiaobei. The little boy gritted his teeth and said, You can't stop them. That's Xiaobei, not silly boy and the others like us. Do you want to use your power or money to pressure them? You can catch loaches when you have time. I'm not stupid. Why should I stop them? I'll tell them to cooperate. My family is fine too. You can count me in. That way, you don't have to worry about me not being able to catch loaches with you. Who's worried? I'm not going to play with you. Mau Mau turned around and ran towards his father with the racket. The little boy was shocked. He slapped the table and threw away the racket. He chased after his father and muttered, "You said that you would catch a lot of loach fish. Leave some for us and give the rest to others in school. You don't keep your word." You won. Mau Mau, you are so good. You can play with your left hand. 15-0. You are first. Xiaobei saw Mau Mau coming over and happily held his hand. Mau Mau was not very happy. He forced a smile and nodded. He is not used to my left hand. If there is a next time, he will definitely not lose so quickly. He learns very quickly. There are no ifs in a competition. The next time will be the next time. Although friendship is first, it is still like war. Success or failure depends on the hero. If there is an ifs, then perhaps you will practice better next time and win more easily. Xiaobei had already developed the habit of not regretting. She would sum up her failures, but she would not regret what she had done wrong in the past. That was useless. According to her brother and sister, living in a regretful memory would tire one to death, unless one wanted to be a saint. This was because even saints had times when they made mistakes. It was already good enough to be a saint. Hence Xiaobei and the others did not think about what-ifs. If their brother and sister were not Xiaobao and Cuckoo, then their lives would definitely not be as good as they were now. Would they commit suicide? You are Xiaobei? You want to cooperate with Mau Mau's father? The little boy ran over and directly questioned Xiaobei. Back off. Xiao Yuan stopped him. He did not let the guards come over. Although the other party seemed to be 1 or 2 years older than him, he was taller and stronger. If they really fought, he who had been trained regularly could beat up the other party. What? Can't I ask? The little boy did not care who the other party was at this moment. Okay, it's the same if you ask me. Ask. Xiao Yuan did not give in at all. Okay, do you want to cooperate with Mau Mau's father and let her move? What's the matter? What does it have to do with you? I made an agreement with her to bring her to catch loach fish. If she moves away, who will catch them? You can't find anyone other than Mau Mau. I can't find anyone. I just can't find anyone. Mau Mau's father sighed and said to the little boy, Huang Huang, come to uncle. Cooperation does not mean moving. The little boy ran over and stood behind Mau Mau's father. What if we move? If we move, we'll bring you along to catch loaches with Mau Mau. Let's see if your father is willing, Song Dakong said with a smile. He's willing. I still have an older brother and a younger brother. Xiaobei, my family can also cooperate with you. Count us in. My family raises many cows and sheep. The little boy named Huang Huang said to Xiaobei. Xiao Yuan, who had always thought that the little boy's attitude was bad, was angry. Before Xiaobei could speak, he said, We can't cooperate with just anyone. Mau Mau is good at basketball, so we cooperate with her family. What's good about you? What's bad about me? Huang Huang retorted angrily. I know you want to play with Mau Mau, Xiao Yuan said. Yes, I just want to play with Mau Mau. What's wrong? Huang Huang did not give in at all. Xiao Yuan. Xiaobei reminded him, meaning that he did not want to compete with others. In the end, just as she finished shouting, she was touched by her own brother, Xiaohai, who told her to be quiet. Xiao Yuan scratched his head and said, Those who are not capable can't play with Mau Mau. In the future, we will play with Mau Mau. Why? Huang Huang did not give in. Because we see Mau Mau play hard and feel that her father is an open-minded and capable person. Therefore, we feel that from a young age to a great age, we can pass on the knowledge to her father, and not be biased. If a girl meets here, the road will be wide. Xiao Yuan raised his chin and said to the little boy, Huang Huang. Huang Huang glared at Xiao Yuan and looked up to meet Mau Mau's expectant eyes. He curled his lips and said, Childhood sweethearts are always together. The gentleman says peony, and I say lotus. Xiao Yuan often follows Xiaobei by her side. What is fate? Xiao Yuan blinked his eyes and looked at the boy, Huang Huang, in front of him again. He held his voice and said, You are too mature. I just want to play with Mau Mau. Don't set a trap for me. Huang Huang looked at Mao Mao and said embarrassedly, "Okay, I'll give you a chance. Let your father come over and talk about cooperation." Xiao Bei decided. With Huang Huang's literary skills, she believed that the adults in his family would not be bad. It was a cooperation, so they had to find a suitable person. Chapter 1255. Mao Mao's father, Song Dakong, went up to the stage with Mao Mao to receive the prize. In addition to a certificate written by the school and several sets of stationery, Xiao Bei and the other 9 also took out a prize. All the children who participated in the competition received a prize, and the prize was very simple: money. According to Xiao Bei, it was useless to give other things, but money was the most practical. Everyone could buy whatever they liked. If they didn't want to buy anything for the time being, they could save the money in the bank or give it to their parents. Sure enough, Xiao Bei's prize was the most popular. The children clamored to have dinner with Xiao Bei and the others and then go back. There was still a long time before dinner time. On one hand, the children were enthusiastically urging them to stay, and on the other hand, it was time for dinner. After a discussion, the 9 people decided to work directly in the academy. They found Mao Mao's father and Huang Huang's father to talk about cooperation. Then they could confirm the plan of arranging short-term idlers. Mao Mao's father, Song Dakong, was very nervous. He was afraid of being exposed. When he met with the 9 people, he looked around and didn't see the 2 people he might meet. His psychological pressure was reduced a lot. In this way, he was not afraid that one of the other 2 people would have a problem. Thinking of Huang Huang's father coming, Song Dakong knew that the other 2 people might not be needed. The other 2 people's roles were limited, and they were only assisting him in raising the dog. Now that there was another livestock breeder, it would be no problem to match up with his dog. Looking at the 9 little guys sitting opposite him with smiles, Song Dakong had a lot of feelings. He thought silently, "Little guys, you only know how to be happy now. You don't know how much effort Xiao Bao and Cuckoo have put in for you." He thought that he had done enough for the children at home. He even spent money to hire someone to train a girl like Mao Mao, and trained a seemingly useless ping-pong ball. But compared with Xiao Bao and Cuckoo, he seemed to have done a lot worse. Yes, a lot worse. He put his fatherly love on the surface. When he found someone to train with Mao Mao, he told his daughter that if she didn't learn well, it would be a pity for her as a father. In the future, he should learn from how Xiao Bao and Cuckoo treated their younger siblings. It was nothing more than a little effort. Raising a child should be done well. Raising a dog should be done patiently. Raising a dog should be done patiently, and the child should be given more effort. It was not good to leave the child to the teachers of the academy. "Hello, Boss Song. We are looking for you because we want to discuss a business deal with you." How could Xiao Bei know that the person in front of him was deliberately found by his brother and sister? Xiao Yuan and the others also did not know that ever since they were emotionally affected by the mere few days of cooperation, their brother and sister had been thinking about how to divert their attention. Therefore, last night, they inadvertently mentioned that there would be a table tennis match today. And then a series of coincidences were waiting for them to meet. Song Dakong took a deep breath and nodded. He then looked at the door behind him. Seeing that there were still no signs of the other 2 people, he confirmed that he would be the main body in this cooperation. Then, he sat on the wide chair opposite Xiao Bei. The cushion under his butt was like a sofa, very comfortable, and he could even lean back. Putting his hands on the armrest, Song Dakong also showed a professional smile and said, "I have guessed part of the content of the cooperation. Do you need me to send the dog to the areas that have been occupied and ruled by our army? What do you want to drink?" Xiao Bei did not immediately mention the cooperation. "Do you have wine?" Song Dakong was not polite. He knew that he would not be so relaxed if it were a third-grade official sitting in front of him. Of course, the official might not have prepared a comfortable chair, or a small folding stool or something. Then the official would sit in a high position and look down at him, seeking to exert pressure during the negotiation. If it were not for the fear of being seen through, he would not have felt any pressure when facing the Zhang family and the Wang family. It was not that he was disrespectful, but the Zhang family and the Wang family gave him a feeling that they were too considerate. As long as he was a citizen of the Tang Empire, he did not need to worry about being deceived or disrespected when facing them. Xiao Bei was very generous. Okay, this year we have white wine to drink. You sing. It tastes stronger than red wine. Don't drink too much. Let's drink some red wine. Xiao Bei's last question was to the other 8 siblings. She liked to drink red wine the most. Ever since she got drunk before the new year, she found that it was very interesting to feel dizzy, and wanted to drink a few sips whenever she had the chance. Let's drink fruit juice, shancha juice with a little bit of alcohol. Xiaohai did not agree to his sister's request to drink red wine. Usually his brother and sister gave him a quota of 2 ounces of red wine in 10 days, and they were not allowed to drink more than half an ounce at a time. This requirement was much stricter than drinking carbonated drinks, and the inner courtyard did not dare to violate it. As for white wine, unless one was sick and needed some kind of medicine to balance it, they could only drink it. However, one could not get sick just to drink white wine. Illness was not something that could be borne just because one wanted to. Okay. Xiao Bei compromised. When outside, she had to listen to brother Xiaohai. Shancha juice was fine, but she could not get drunk. After all, if she wanted to get drunk, she would have to stuff herself to death. Her stomach could not hold it. Someone brought wine and beef jerky to Songdakong. They talked and ate at the same time. The atmosphere of the negotiation was very relaxed. Xiao Bei drank a mouthful of shancha juice and said, "We have 2 ways to cooperate. One is to buy all your dogs directly, but I don't think you will sell them. Then we will provide you with the second way of cooperation. You use your dogs to invest, and we will pay for other expenses, manpower and material resources. When the time comes, there will be dividends." Song Dakong did not drink and nodded directly. "I agree with the second way." "Then how many shares do you want? Do you need us to give you some data first?" Xiao Bei and the others were not ready. For example, the size of the ranch, where it was located, how suitable the growth of the grass, and other follow-up protective measures, and so on. Therefore, Xiao Bei and the others discussed that they would listen to Mao Mao's father first, and see if he had any reasonable suggestions. Then, according to the conditions proposed by the other party, they would negotiate to increase or decrease the number of shares. This way, their side would be more proactive. Song Dakong picked up his wine glass and drank a mouthful of white wine. He took a deep breath and said, "It is indeed stronger than red wine. I don't have any requirements. I will cooperate however you want, even if you say that I will give you my dogs for free." Xiao Bei was stunned. She licked her sweet lips and asked kindly, "Aren't you afraid that we will cheat you? What if you suffer a loss?" "I'm not afraid." Song Dakong shook his head. The Zhang and Wang families are both big families and big businesses. They wouldn't be interested in a small business like mine. The only reason you want to cooperate with me is because you want to make some money for yourselves. You wouldn't be targeting me. I don't know how much land you want, but I need to know that all the businessmen who cooperate with you have a good life. Then we have reached an agreement? Why do I feel a little uncomfortable? What kind of negotiation is this? It looks like we have to quickly fill in the details. Don't worry, we will not take advantage of you. We will cooperate as usual and calculate each other's contributions and income. If we find out in the future that we are at a disadvantage in the contract, then we will consider ourselves to be at a disadvantage. If you are the one at a disadvantage, then we can change the contract. Money is earned from others under the condition that we work together. We are not earning money from our partners. Otherwise, the money earned will not be enough. Xiao Bei looked at the others. Everyone felt that this was not a negotiation at all. It was just like chatting. One side did not have any conditions, and the other side had to consider the other's interests. Xiao Bei and the others did not know that the order Song Dakong received yesterday was not to discuss the details of the negotiation with Xiao Bei and the others. Otherwise, there would be 2 uncertain consequences. One was that Xiao Bei and the others would win the negotiation and be full of confidence. The other was that once they thought of the negotiation, they would be traumatized and become even more irritated. Zhang Xiaobao was so good at psychology, but he could not judge which point he would lean towards. He would not gamble. He had to let his younger siblings win a project comfortably. Previously, they had arranged for 3 people to cooperate with. If they did not meet by chance, then they would immediately have other backup plans. Anyway, no matter what, Xiao Bei and the others would have to move forward on the path of chance encounters without any accidents. At the same time, they also arranged for the rest of the labor force. If the 9 little fellows in the stands did not get any inspiration from the 3 people's conversation, there would be other people who would inadvertently give them inspiration. For Zhang Xiaobao, arranging a series of things was much more difficult than negotiating with his younger siblings. Encourage education was the right way to go. Sometimes it was necessary to suppress children. However, at the same time, they had to immediately create opportunities for the children to build confidence. This was actually a form of encouragement education in disguise. Xiao Bei and the others were in their older brother's scam. They made their own choices among the countless coincidences. They, who were kept in the dark, began to chat with Mao Mao's father. They waited for Huang Huang's father to come, so that they could sign a simple agreement together. After that, they got someone to write down the details, and everyone signed the contract. It did not take long before Huang Huang's father was called over. Along the way, he already knew what had happened. He did not value his son's childhood friend very much. The child was still young and did not know how to behave. When he grew up in the future, he might change. Who could decide the future? However, he very much hoped to be able to cooperate with Zhang Xiaobao and the Wang family. When the time came, his cattle and sheep would be able to obtain more benefits. However, he was not sure about the upcoming negotiations. How much benefit should he seek? The people he was going to negotiate with now were 9 children. He had never seen them before, but he heard from others that they were very smart. However, when he thought about it, they would definitely not be able to avoid him during the negotiations. Should he take advantage of this opportunity to gain more benefits? He was afraid that the children would not be able to avoid him. After signing the contract, they would be at a disadvantage. Their older brother would personally deal with him. Even if the contract was not amended, he probably would not be able to make money from this deal. Who knew how many tricks Xiao Bao had up his sleeve? No matter how detailed the contract was, it would not be able to seal all the loopholes, right? As he struggled in his heart, Huang Huang's father rushed all the way to the place. As soon as he was invited into the house, Mao Mao's father, Song Dakong, quickly stood up and said enthusiastically, "Li Xiaojiang, you came just in time. As soon as you nodded, I said that I would not mention any conditions. I believe that the Zhang Xiaobao and the Wang family will not do anything wrong. Now that you are here, quickly sign the contract with me and settle the initial intentions. After that, just wait to get rich. Xiao Bei and the others want to do a big business. Yes, drink some wine first. This wine is good. The more you drink, the clearer your mind will be." The person called Li Xiaojiang by Song Dakong was Huang Huang's father. Before he came, he was still thinking about what to do. When he heard what his old friend said, he completely understood. The other party did not want him to negotiate with Xiao Bei and the others. He wanted him to agree directly like the other party. However, after so many years of understanding, the other party was definitely not talking nonsense. There was definitely something wrong, but it was not good to say it now. Especially when he said that the more he drank, the clearer his mind would be. He was telling him not to make a mistake. Could it be that Xiao Bei and the others wanted to directly take over his family's business? The kind that uses force? Impossible. Xiao Bei and the others were not short of money. More importantly, he did not do anything wrong. The money that should be donated had been donated, and the roads that should be repaired had been repaired. He did not bully others and did not force others to buy or sell. If they blatantly snatched, their brothers and sisters would not agree. Thinking in his heart, Li Xiaojiang was pushed to another chair by Song Dakong. Song Dakong handed him a glass of wine. There was no hint on his face. When he handed the wine to Li Xiaojiang, the force was transmitted to Li Xiaojiang's hand. "Try it. You made everyone wait for you. Originally, you should be punished. Seeing that you came immediately after hearing the news, I will respect you. We will cooperate more in the future." Song Dakong smiled and joked. Li Xiaojiang nodded vigorously, indicating that he understood. He did not want to refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. After drinking the wine in the glass in one gulp, Li Xiaojing let out a long breath. He turned to Xiao Bei and the others and said with a smile, "Just as Dakong said, I came here to sign the contract and put my fingerprint. I will need you to worry about the rest. We can talk about the conditions." Xiao Bei kindly advised. "My conditions are unconditional. Even if I can't trust others, can't I trust you? Not to mention cooperation. Even if you want my livestock, I will send it to you immediately. I will even give you fodder." Li Xiaojing was no longer worried about the content of the negotiation. He was relaxed. "All of you are so easy to talk to. Well, we will draw up the contract. When the time comes, I will let you see which part is not good. We can change it. It is not a big deal. Let's go to India and the original place of the cannibals to raise livestock. The grass there is good. If we find that the yield of beans, wheat, and rice is much higher than in our country, we can also plant them. When the time comes, we can extract oil and wine. The price of transporting them back is about the same as the local price. The profit will be big because there is no tax." Xiao Bei saw that the other party did not mention the conditions, and was a little embarrassed. She introduced more. After her introduction, Li Xiaojing was interested. He asked, "Xiao Bei, if we transport them back, it will be a lot of transportation, right?" "Not much. First go to the river, and then go to the sea. A ship does not need too many people. Going back and forth will only take a little time. Bean oil and wine can be stored for a long time and will not spoil. In fact, as long as the rice and wheat are not shelled immediately, it is not a problem to store them for 2 or 3 years. There is no need to use a special storage method. If we need something from the Tang Empire, as long as it is not very urgent, there is no need to transport it by land. It is just a small amount of daily necessities. A ship can carry a lot. We have steam engine power. And even if we don't want to transport, the ships have to go there in groups. We have heard from brother and sister that whether it is India or India, we will try our best to use water transportation." Xiao Bei was very happy to solve the problem of the contract, so she revealed more information that ordinary people could not understand. "Then, what are you still asking? Just sign the contract." Song Dakong saw that Li Xiaojing still wanted to ask, and said with a slightly impatient expression, "I don't want to ask about the contract. I want to know more about what I don't know. In the past, can you know the situation that Xiao Bei and the others talked about? Knowledge, you need to listen more, see more, and think more, right, Xiao Bei? The wine in your house is so delicious." Li Xiaojing glared at Song Dakong, and then asked Xiao Bei with a smile. He did want to know more about the key information. Before, he did not know that Xiao Bao and Cuckoo wanted people to go there to open a ranch, and he did not know that it was tax-free. As for why they wanted to strengthen water transportation instead of land transportation, he had to ask again. Xiao Bei did not answer Li Xiaojing immediately. She waved her hand and called the servant of the inner yard to her side. After whispering a few words, she nodded to the inner yard, turned around, and gave Li Xiaojing a bright smile, saying, "Okay, ask. Just now I asked Dongsheng. I know what can be said and what can't be said." At this moment, both Song Dakong and Li Xiaojing liked Xiao Bei from the bottom of their hearts. Although she smiled, she was very steady in doing things. She did not even care about the two of them. Frankly speaking, she had to ask the inner yard first if she had something, which meant that she exposed the fact that she was also under control. Ordinary children were not like this. When they took the servants out, they would not be happy even if the servants reminded them, let alone take the initiative to ask them what they could and could not say. "It's a pity that she is not born well," Li Xiaojing muttered quietly. Hearing this, Song Dakong shook his head and thought, "Your teaching is not as good as hers. Do you know why I am here to talk about cooperation? I will tell you when we go back so that you can broaden your knowledge. Don't you want to ask? Ask now." Song Dakong also wanted to know, but he did not know what to ask. Li Xiaojing pondered for a moment. He had to think carefully. He could not directly ask about military operations, nor could he ask about the logistical shortcomings of the Tang Empire. That would make others think otherwise. After thinking for a while, Li Xiaojing asked, Why don't we use land transportation? Isn't it easy to get to Duoshur from the Turks? Then the Duoshur people built roads for their own material circulation and for the convenience of the army during their rule. How do we use land transportation? Xiao Bei asked. Livestock. Li Xiaojing answered quickly. Xiao Bei waved his hand. Livestock are better used for farming than for transportation. We don't even have enough logistics in our country. How do we send them out? Ships are much more convenient. We can't use ships to farm, right? Ships can't reach anyone in the country, right? If we use livestock to transport goods over land, there is no problem in the use of logistics resources. No one can find fault with it. However, according to the distribution of all the resources in the country, it will inevitably lead to problems in the allocation of transportation and labor resources, right? Li Xiaojing looked at Xiao Bei in surprise and then turned to look at the equally surprised Song Dakong. The two of them thought of the same thing at the same time. Is this a child? The words that came out of his mouth were too frightening. Xiao Bei did not care about what they thought and continued. There are two more problems. In fact, it can be said to be one problem. The advantage of using ships for transportation is that we can train captains and crew members, as well as the development of the shipbuilding industry. After they became stronger, they would be able to build better ships and sail them further. They would also be able to reduce mistakes during operations. Skilled workers were treasures in any industry. Next is another main problem. We have livestock to occupy land transportation at any time, but it's not easy to travel on land. There are mountains, rivers, swamps, and so on. When we invade other places in the future, oh no, it's when we have trade and military exchanges with other places in the future, we still need the support of the Navy. No, it's the ocean transportation industry. Brother and sister said that there are many places that are not accessible by land and are full of seawater. Shouldn't we consider the future? For example, the seeds that my family sent people to a very, very far place to bring back are only a small part of them. They are also crossing the sea. It's very cold. If our fleet is powerful enough, we can directly cross the sea and reach there to bring back more things. We can even send people there to take turns to develop them. They will come back after a year or two. Not only can they broaden their horizons, but they can also train people. Song Dakong and Li Xiaojing were dumbfounded. They nodded repeatedly, like students listening to a teacher. At a certain moment, they chose to ignore Xiao Bei's age. They had broadened their horizons, truly broadened their horizons. It turned out that water transportation involved many things. Truly, when one stood at a different height, one could consider a problem from a different angle. Could it be that Xiao Bao and Cuckoo had been instilling these things into their little brothers and sisters? Were they not afraid of exhausting their children? Many officials of the imperial court would never have thought of such a scheme, right? Then why don't they have people stay in other places for a few more years? Just like you said just now, using ships can promote the development of the shipbuilding industry. If they stay in other places for a few more years, won't they have a better understanding of the place? Song Dakong asked. They're afraid of independence. It takes several months to get there by ship. A group of people going there is actually called colonization. They've been there for a long time, have a good relationship with the natives, and have also obtained some of the great Tang's technology. It's inevitable that they'll feel that it's not worth it to listen to the other side when they're so far away. In a moment of impulse, they'll go independent. Xiao Bei explained the reason. If they dare to go independent, we'll beat them, Li Xiaojing harshly said. Idle? Giving others a chance to make a mistake is itself making a mistake. The improvement of the system is actually to reduce the possibility of people committing crimes when faced with temptation. Right? You can't always think of making others self-aware. Just like the matter of loans, I've already sent someone to investigate. Boss Song can actually get a loan from a bank, and his share is not small. Even without any collateral, he can still get a loan of 4,000 strings of coins. Based on what? Based on the fact that he started to invest in the Chaoyang operation many years ago. Based on the fact that he repaired the bridge and paved the road. Based on what Big Brother said, a person with a sense of social responsibility has a certain degree of credibility. Thus, I've always wanted the local merchants to support the school and give them benefits. Now, it may seem like an exchange of benefits, but as time goes by, it'll gradually become a habit. I feel very sad for merchants who aren't willing to spend this money, but I can't arrest them and punish them. They didn't do anything wrong, so I can only use other benefits to entice them to invest. After saying these words, Xiaobei recalled that some merchants in other places said that they wouldn't spend money on the school no matter what. She sighed like an adult with a helpless expression on her face. However, no matter how one looked at her when she sighed, she looked very cute. Song Dakong and Li Xiaojing looked at Xiaobei's cute appearance, but they couldn't feel happy at all. Li Xiaojing drank another cup of wine and said angrily, "Some merchants are just not sensible. They only consider the rules set by the imperial court. As long as they don't break the rules, it's fine. As for paying more, that's not okay. In my opinion, they are fools." Dakong is investing money in the school because he really likes children. I also invest, but I don't like children. I only like my family's children. I invest money to show off and let others see that my business is big and good. I have money. You said that you earned a lot of money and returned to your hometown in glory. Don't you want to give others some benefits? The rich people in the village know how to build a good house. If I earn money and invest money in the school, won't others praise me more than if I only build a house for myself? I won't talk about the loan. I'll just say that I'm giving money to the school. If something happens to my family one day, who doesn't want to work hard after receiving benefits from me? When it was Xiaobei nodding, Xiao Yuan and the rest were equally surprised. Xiaobei's thinking was too simple. Today, I spend money to let your child go to school. Tomorrow, if my child falls, you have to carry it back. You owe me. It was a very typical idea of using kindness to get repaid. But if you say that he was wrong, he really wasn't wrong. Because he was the one who showed kindness first. If you received benefits from him, shouldn't you repay him? It was a simple exchange of interests in social behavior. It was simple, realistic, and always had an effect. That was why people hated ungrateful and repaying kindness with ingratitude. Alright, I support you to continue thinking this way. You are clear about the problem of colonization. Do you have any other questions? If you miss this village, you won't have this opportunity again. We can't tell you every time. Xiaobei asked Song Dakong and Li Xiaojing again. He was in a good mood today, so he said more. As long as he didn't say anything that really needed to be kept secret, it was fine. I don't. Song Dakong didn't think much. He was a little more foolish than Li Xiaojing. But he came at a good time. If it were another era, his dog would have been gone. I do. Li Xiaojing sat up straight. What I'm asking is, if you only consider the situation of colonization and rebellion, how can you do it? How can you prevent people from rebelling in faraway places, and also obtain more benefits there? It involves the research and application of technology. Now you see the steam engine ships. In the future, there will not only be ships, but also, what else can't I tell you? In any case, if you want to go there from the Tang Empire in the future, it won't take a few months, just a few days. The duration of colonization depends on the time of travel between the two places, the difference between the military technology of the colonized place and that of the Tang Empire, and whether there is a comprehensive foundation for social development at that time, including a monetary system. Xiaobei explained again. She actually wanted to say more, but she remembered this point. Usually, when she listened to her brother and sister talk like they were just chatting, in fact, there were many meanings behind it. Just as Li Xiaojing was about to hear what was better than ships, they suddenly changed the topic. He felt very uncomfortable, but he accepted it. Obviously, what they wanted to say was not suitable for him to hear. Looking at the wine in his glass, Li Xiaojing shook his head. I have no more questions. Since we are cooperating to open a ranch in other places, do you need me to send a few people? Their families all have businesses. Xiaobei did not answer immediately. Instead, she discussed with the others in a low voice. After a quarter of an hour, when Li Xiaojing was a little drunk, Xiaobei sat back down and said, No, we can't take up too many resources. Our identities don't allow it. What we can do is to go there first and set an example for others, but we can't monopolize it. Then do you have other things you need us to do? Li Xiaojing wanted to improve their relationship further. You raise livestock in your family, right? Xiaobei asked. Seeing the other nodding, she said happily, yes, raising livestock is really good. Tomorrow? No, tonight, you call the breeding technicians in your family over to my restaurant. I have something for them to do. What about me? Song Dakong asked. You raise your dog well. It is estimated that in 3 months or 5 months, your family can let the dog breed again. Don't be afraid of spending money. I will give it to you. The more dogs, the better. After all, people are too busy. Xiaobei gave Song Dakong another order. Chapter 1256. After listening to Song Dakong and Li Xiaojing talking about the local people, he ordered people to speed up the details of the contract. Xiaobei and the other 8 decided to have dinner at the academy. At the request of several representative children, they planned to eat canned food at night. Xiaobei asked people to go back and bring all kinds of canned food, but he didn't know what was delicious in the canned food. When the evening came, the children in the academy were as happy as a festival. They surrounded Xiaobei and the other 8 who knew they couldn't have a steady meal, singing and dancing. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, who were supposed to wait for their younger brothers and sisters to have dinner together at home, didn't eat in the restaurant when they saw that the children had dinner in the school. Instead, they disguised themselves and went to the Izhou pier together. The lanterns and torches at the pier had lit up a large area in advance. The ships didn't stop because of the sunset. The ships that needed to rest had special places to park. The real loading and unloading area was very busy with people coming and going. In the process of any organized mass transportation of goods, there will always be people who find opportunities to make more money. The income gap between social groups will gradually widen. Generally speaking, people with flexible minds will always make more money than those who only know how to work hard. The development of human beings is ahead of the development of animals, because the brains of animals are replaced by strength in many cases. Thus, the source of polarization is formed. Zhang Xiaobao whispered to Wang Wan beside him when he saw people carrying things up and down. After saying that, Zhang Xiaobao shook his head, as if he felt that he was a little out of touch with the masses. Now the first thing he thought of when he saw something was not the closest atmosphere between the scenery and society, but the root cause from the perspective of a ruler, as well as the various social effects and solutions in the process. Wang Wan saw Zhang Xiaobao's expression and knew what he was thinking, so she said, "If you always think like this, you will die of exhaustion. Don't you think the busy workers are full of happiness and hope for the future? Well, let's not care about the social problems. I'm here today to see how normal people live. I'm a normal person. Yes, I'm a normal person. I'm really a normal person," Zhang Xiaobao muttered. Suddenly, he took 2 steps forward and helped a worker to steady the goods that were about to slide off his shoulder. He smiled and said, "You're welcome," as the worker thanked him in surprise and fear. Wang Wan covered her mouth and chuckled. "Look, you're mumbling. You can continue to say that you're a normal person, but if you say it to others one by one, you're definitely not a normal person. Look at which mentally ill person would say that they're mentally ill? Hee, I really need to adjust myself. Otherwise, if I think about too many abstract things all day, I will become a professional philosopher in the future. Let's go. There's a store selling liangpi over there. Let's try it." Zhang Xiaobao rubbed his head and chuckled. He pulled Wang Wan to a stall selling liangpi. There was a small 2-wheeled cart. When the cart stopped, the handrail at the back was propped up with a piece of wood with a groove to keep the cart balanced. Next to the car were 2 open folding tables and a dozen or so stools. This was a temporary dining area. It was only about 60 meters away from the dock. Sometimes, when the wind was strong, the dust would be blown over by the wind when the goods were being loaded and unloaded. But whether it was the people selling liangpi or the people eating it, they didn't seem to care about the dust. They held bamboo bowls and slurped with their chopsticks. "1 serving, add more garlic juice." Zhang Xiaobao handed over 2 copper coins and chose 1 serving. Wang Wan looked around and found a wooden stool that someone had moved over to use as a stool. There was no one there at the moment, so she ran over to occupy the space. Soon, a serving of liangpi was stuffed into Zhang Xiaobao's hand. Sure enough, there were 2 spoons of garlic juice in it. Do you like to eat garlic? Wang Wan asked. It's not that I like to eat garlic. I'm just worried that if I don't ask for more garlic juice, she will give me less liangpi. Look, some of her liangpi are already in the bowl, and some are left unshaven. Just now, when I asked for more garlic juice, she scraped it. Zhang Xiaobao explained to Wang Wan. Wang Wan didn't understand and looked at Zhang Xiaobao in confusion. Zhang Xiaobao could only continue. Usually people who set up stalls have a habit, and that is they are afraid that it will be crowded, so they prepare some in advance. You know this, right? But when it comes to preparation, liangpi isn't prepared piece by piece like the noodles. The difference isn't big. Liangpi is scraped from a large lump of starch jelly. Whether it's strips or slices depends on the tool she uses. If it's prepared beforehand, very few sellers are willing to put more into the bowl. Only those who seem to be very familiar with the jelly will give more. On the other hand, those who are familiar with the jelly are usually fond of it and have a big mouth. If you give less, they will complain. She's not afraid that you will make trouble, but she will find it annoying. Those who are willing to choose the jelly in advance are usually in a hurry to eat, and don't care if it's more or less. I asked for garlic juice to prove that I'm a person who eats a lot, so she was afraid that I would argue with her, so she specially scraped it for me. I compared it, and it's really a little more. Wang Wan nodded repeatedly as she listened. She picked up her chopsticks and ate 2 mouthfuls. She smiled and said to Zhang Xiaobao, "You deliberately put in so much effort just to eat a little more?" A gust of wind blew the dust over. Zhang Xiaobao quickly picked up the bowl and put it under his clothes. He turned sideways to avoid the wind and said, "I didn't put in any effort. I really thought of doing this naturally. Look over there." Wang Wan looked over and saw a well-dressed lady arguing with the seller of liangpi. "Give me more sesame paste, I'll buy yours. Did you forget that I love sesame paste the most?" "Too much, too much. If you give more, you can just eat sesame paste. Sesame paste is getting more and more expensive now. Even if I give you more, it won't cover the cost. I'll sell it at a loss," the seller said to the lady in the same loud voice. Wang Wan looked at the wind and asked Zhang Xiaobao to take out the bowl. She asked doubtfully, "Sesame paste is expensive? Does that mean that sesame oil is also starting to become expensive? And sesame? It's expensive. It's just a little more expensive. There's no need to consider the cost. It's just a saying. This is the real life of a normal person. It seems that I'm a normal person." Zhang Xiaobao also ate 2 mouthfuls and said, "You mean to say that I'm not a normal person? Since it's expensive, why don't you care about it?" Wang Wan grabbed the bowl and started to eat. "I don't care about the price of sesame. For a period of time, the price of sesame won't go down at all. I can't force it down. That's against the rules of the market. It's a non-essential consumable. As long as the price of salt, oil, and grain doesn't fluctuate beyond the normal range, I won't ask about it. It's because we need to transport things from other places during the war, which increases the number of people moving around in the local area for a period of time. The local grain is enough to support the consumption of the people. Originally, the Chengdu area was a large production area. Otherwise, it wouldn't dare to be called Chengdu. It's a pity that it hasn't been Chengdu. It always stays in this name with a slightly inferior status." After Zhang Xiaobao finished speaking, he grabbed the bowl again and drank some soup. It was sour and sweet, very satisfying. But to the extent that it's not a situation of inferior status has never appeared. It can't become a capital, but its influence has always been widespread. It's because the environment and water transportation are developed. Izhou's liangpi is different from other places. How can there be so much soup? Wang Wan looked at Zhang Xiaobao drinking another mouthful of soup and asked casually. Zhang Xiaobao burped and smiled. "It's not that there's a lot of liangpi soup in Izhou. It's a soup that's specially mixed with a little sugar and a little vinegar. The cost is increased, but the sales are also increased." Wang Wan thought about it, but she really couldn't figure out why this was done. Zhang Xiaobao didn't explain. Instead, he shouted at a person who was also holding a bowl, and wanted to squat down to eat. He asked, "Brother, is her soup good?" "It's good, it's good. When you're tired from work, you should have a bowl. It can quench your thirst and fill your stomach. Otherwise, when you're hungry, you won't have the energy to work if you eat too much. If you don't eat, it'll be even more boring. After a bowl of liangpi, you can continue to work. This is called efficiency, little brother." The person turned around and said. He also taught Zhang Xiaobao what efficiency was. Zhang Xiaobao nodded repeatedly as if he had been taught something. He gave the person a thumbs up. With a smile on his face, the person found a relatively sheltered place and squatted down to eat. After 2 mouthfuls, he got up and ran to the stall to ask for more soup. Wang Wan put down her chopsticks and said to Zhang Xiaobao, "You're really interesting. You even cooperated with others. Comrade Xiaobao, tell me, did you learn what efficiency is just now?" "No." Zhang Xiaobao shook his head. Who dares to say that he knows how to maximize efficiency? All efficiency improvement plans are just plans. No one dares to say that their plan is the best because there are still uncertainties. Do you want to calculate all the probabilities clearly? It's just like how no one knows how much rain a certain cloud in the sky can turn into. I've been walking on the path of increasing efficiency, but there's no end in sight. Wang Wan lightly clapped her hands twice as if she was applauding Zhang Xiaobao. Looking at the soup in the bowl, she also ran over to ask for more. When the person was unhappy and added a large spoonful of soup, Wang Wan embarrassedly took out a copper coin and gave it to the person. In the end, the person added another spoonful of soup and garlic juice. Wang Wan also drank a mouthful of soup and smacked her lips twice as she said to Zhang Xiaobao, "I ate a stomach full of dust. The situation of our hygiene is really worrying." "What hygiene? Didn't you taste it? This soup was boiled first and then cooled. There's the taste of seasoning in it, not star anise powder directly. Firewood is not valuable, and the seller is also afraid that the people working at the docks will have a stomachache. What's there to be afraid of? Let the white blood cells in your body take care of it. Don't you usually breathe dust? Especially the roads in Tang. They are all made of earth and stone, and very few of them are cement. The Ministry of Works produces a lot of paraffin, and the most important thing is to get them to produce asphalt as soon as possible. I realized that I've become abnormal again. Today, I'm not thinking about other things. I'm just looking, listening, and chatting with people. Actually, you should ask her for more liangpi. It's just a copper coin. You don't have to buy soup. She probably feels guilty now and keeps looking at you." Zhang Xiaobao did not look at the person selling liangpi at all. Wang Wan looked back. Sure enough, the person was looking at her from the corner of his eyes. She could not help but sigh. "Xiaobao, why are you so familiar with the common folks' things? Then why didn't she take the initiative to add some liangpi for me?" Because at that moment, the greed in her heart won over the idea of a fair trade. "But she will probably ask you later if you still want more soup, but she will definitely not give you liangpi. So, we can't stand on the moral high ground and attack her. She is also kind in her heart." Xiaobao's eyes were fixed on the person who was eating the liangpi. That person was eating very slowly, unlike before when he drank the soup quickly and asked someone to refill it. Wang Wan sat back down and followed Zhang Xiaobao's gaze. She asked, "Why are you looking at him?" "I'm getting the same satisfaction from him. He ate very slowly because he wanted to savor the liangpi. I can ask him to do something," Zhang Xiaobao said. Wang Wan looked. Sure enough, that person was eating very happily. She looked back at Zhang Xiaobao. "What do you want him to do?" "Sell liangpi," Zhang Xiaobao answered. Chapter 1257. You want to sell cold jelly? Wang Wan didn't believe it. Yes. Zhang Xiaobao nodded affirmatively. Do you have nothing to do? If it wasn't for Zhenla, we would be at the front line somewhere. We are staying in Izhou because we are worried that the garrison in Annan can't withstand the attack of Zhen Le's army. When the war starts, we will immediately take all the armed personnel in our family to that place for emergency help. Why don't you take advantage of your free time to think about national affairs, and come here to sell cold jelly? Your ability shouldn't be used on a small business in a city. Wang Wan thought that Zhang Xiaobao personally selling cold jelly was a waste of talent. Zhang Xiaobao took the chopsticks and sucked the liangpi in his mouth. He looked at the sky as if he was savoring the taste. I just found out that there is no mustard. It's good that there is no mustard, so the people working at the docks don't have fast blood flow, and eating mustard will increase the incidence of cardiovascular diseases. I'm asking you a question. Why did you say mustard? Wang Wan looked at the person who was squatting and eating, afraid that he would leave after eating. Well, you ask and I answer. Don't you think that not going to the front line is more of a deterrent to the cannibals? Staying in Ezhou can take care of the whole front line. Our guards can't be directly used to attack one side to complete the tactical arrangement, right? Our soldiers should be used at the critical moment. When the team is pulled out, there is only one battle strategy, which is to attack. And it must be unstoppable and invincible. It's not a lightning battle, but a thunderous battle, crushing all the way. If you really play a defensive counterattack, when the newspaper reports and the people see, oh, God of War Cuckoo can't beat them. Right. So we should just stay here and wait for the time to move. What does that have to do with you selling cold jelly? Wang Wan admitted that Zhang Xiaobao was right. But what does being stationed in Ezhou have to do with cold jelly? I want to be a normal person. I really have nothing to do recently, except to plot against my younger brother and sister, and set up a trap for them. I can't continue to make national policies, and I don't have any good policies at the moment. Is cold jelly bad? Do I have to sell my face? It's too expensive, right? Zhang Xiaobao seemed to be giving an explanation, but his purpose was different from Wang Wan's question. Burning newspapers at the grave? Who are you trying to fool? You set a trap for Xiao Bei and the others. I know. This is your old profession. You used to do this when you cheated people in the past. You gave people chance after chance, and in the end, they fell into your trap. The only difference was that when you were scheming against Darren, you had to go in a bigger circle and involve more karma. I don't object to you using trickery on your younger siblings. Using it for good is good. Using it for evil is evil. Then why don't you trick more people? Deceive them in a good way. Wang Wan admired Zhang Xiaobao's ability to make connections, but she didn't want to see him use his ability to sell cold jelly. And from the way Xiaobao instantly thought of lying to his younger siblings, she could tell that Xiaobao was really used to it. That kind of smooth arrangement was the best interpretation of his former identity. Fortunately, she was watching over him and reached an agreement to not let him do anything to his own people. Otherwise, it might not have been a big deal. Xiaobao used to cheat people because the country's system was too stable. Unlike now, as long as he showed his ability, he could easily gain the recognition of the upper echelons. Li Longji would make an exception and promote him. This was an era that was used to making exceptions. At that time, Xiaobao probably wouldn't be able to walk the right path. Many people would want to take advantage of him and suppress him. The upper echelons of the country wouldn't care about his ability. Or rather, they would only care when he had great achievements. For example, when he finally returned to the country, the upper echelons finally cared. But it was too late. He came back to bury his bones in his hometown. But it wasn't the absolute upper echelons. But the upper echelons wanted to take his money and convict him. Then they would secretly release him to do things for some people. The meaning was that if they didn't kill you, you would be indebted to them. So at that time, Xiaobao had to take an unconventional approach to achieve his goal. Now the great Tang was much more flexible in selecting talents. There were disadvantages, but there were also advantages. With Xiaobao's love for his people, he wouldn't continue to be so ruthless. Who knows? Anyway, she was in charge of him now. His abilities were all used to treat his own people well and treat outsiders badly. Moreover, when he did things, it was very reassuring. Even if it was a small matter, it had a deep meaning. For example, selling cold jelly? Thinking of this, Wang Wan came back to her senses and placed her hand on Zhang Xiaobao's hand. She smiled sweetly and said gently, Hubby, is there something you haven't told me? Zhang Xiaobao couldn't help but tremble. He became nervous. No, I was just thinking about what you said just now. You said that my ability shouldn't be used on a city. In the past, we discussed that the country has many experts. The real experts are quite capable. If they put down their bodies, they can easily make a county rich. At that time, I mentioned it before. But after their status rose, they forgot about the things below and only thought about fighting for power. They all thought that they were in charge of the country's affairs and not a county or city. That was a waste of talent. They became selfish. In fact, how many counties are there in the country? They have so many people. Let's just say that they need 3 to 5 years to solve 1% of the poverty in the county. Then they can lead the surrounding counties and provide a model for other similar counties. In 2 generations, the entire country will be revitalized. However, they were unwilling. The composition and promotion structure of the local officials also determined the degree of local construction. Local officials were not allowed to hold the position of the head of the local department. The young foreign officials were gilded, while the old ones were retired. Now you can treat me as one of those experts. What I need to do is to calm down. As long as I have time, I will plan for a small group of people in a city. If I don't do it, I will be idle. If I do something, I will gain something. After Zhang Xiaobao finished speaking, he removed his hand from Wang Wan's hand and used the fastest speed to gulp down the bowl of cold jelly. He also drank the soup until there wasn't a drop left. He put the bowl down, gasped for breath, and showed a sincere expression to Wang Wan. Wang Wan pursed her lips and smiled. She put her hand on his hand again. Hubby. Look, the moon is so round today. Zhang Xiaobao looked up at the sky. It was the 3rd day of the Lunar New Year, and the moon had just appeared not long ago. He nodded. Yes, I can clearly see Chang'e feeding the rabbits. The moon is like a silver plate, and the moonlight is like water. The reflection in the river is broken and condensed with the river. The quiet environment is like a cauldron, and the lights are shining brightly. It is quiet and noisy. Haha, if Hatong moonlight is written like you, Laozhu will be scolded to death. Wang Wan was amused by Zhang Xiaobao's words. Do you think that if you don't write like me, no one will scold you? What I said does not seem to be logical at first glance, but from another perspective, it shows the unity and opposition of contradictions. For example, the boundless blue sky was filled with large patches of dark clouds. You shouldn't question why there were dark clouds in the blue sky, and why there were large patches of them. You should think that the sky was indeed blue, and there was no end to it. Then, a group of dark clouds came over, large patches of them. In other words, if you first draw a blue sky without a single cloud, and then you draw dark clouds. In this way, you are not wrong, right? As for how to adjust the color, that is a matter of skill. However, you cannot say that the sky is not blue because there are dark clouds, but that when you look at it, the color of the blue sky is covered by the dark clouds. Zhang Xiaobao did not blush at all as he justified his statement. Then let's talk about the cold powder, shall we? Wang Wan did not continue to discuss the moon with Zhang Xiaobao. This big brother, are you done eating? Do you want another bowl? I will treat you. Zhang Xiaobao stood up and walked behind the person who was eating the cold powder slowly. He slapped the person's back, causing the person to cough. There are still 2 more mouthfuls. The person who was slapped was unhappy. Zhang Xiaobao retracted his hand and scratched his head. Sorry, I saw wrongly. Big brother, please continue eating. I want to treat you to another bowl. This person really did not care about being slapped. He reluctantly ate the remaining 2 mouthfuls of cold powder, and raised his head to drink the soup. I say, little brother, next time be more careful. If it is someone with a bad temper who wants to beat you up, with your small physique, you will be beaten up with 2 slaps. Yes, it is hard to find a good person like Big Brother. Do you still want to eat? I will treat you. Zhang Xiaobao did not correct the person's words. If he used weapons, he would instantly beat up such a person. Instead, he asked if the person still wanted to eat. The person shook his head. No, if I continue eating, it will delay my work. If I eat too much, I will not be able to use my strength. Little brother, did you bring your wife out to play? Yes. Zhang Xiaobao nodded. It is getting hotter and hotter. My wife at home said that she wanted to come out, so I did not dare to not come out. I was afraid. Wang Wan looked at him indifferently. She did not explain or hide anything. She wanted to know what Xiaobao was playing at. The person wiped his mouth with his sleeve. No, it is not good to be afraid of your wife. Men do big things. If you are afraid of your wife, it is because she is soft. Yes, yes, yes. Big brother is right. Just like when Big Brother went to ask for the soup, the cold jelly seller was obedient and said that she would give it to you immediately. At home, she must also listen to Big Brother. Zhang Xiaobao said. No, no. The person nervously denied. I do not live with Gui. She is not my wife. We are not close. Not close? But I just saw her scrape a few more times for you. When you asked her to add the soup, she first used a spoon to scrape the side to get rid of the little bit of foam. She scooped it gently, afraid that she would hand over the sediment at the bottom. When my wife went to ask for the soup, she did not do that. Zhang Xiaobao was just short of directly saying, You were flirting with me with your eyes, flirting and laughing with me just now. When? The person was anxious. You did not? Big brother, there were 2 empty seats at the table in front. Why didn't you take them? Why did you have to squat here to eat? And big brother, the bowl you used is different from ours. Our bowl is sawed from thick bamboo. The one in your hand is made from pottery, right? It has been placed next to the cart selling cold jelly. There is a cover on it. Zhang Xiaobao said with a smile. He even winked at the person, meaning that he understood. The person was even more flustered. He glanced at the place where the cold jelly was sold and stuttered. I thought the bamboo was dirty. I saw that there was something to play with, so I used it. I really have nothing to do with Gui. I know. Big brother, don't worry. You and Gui have a pure relationship. I understand. Big brother, listen to me. I am speaking nonsense. Why didn't you take the table? Because you want to leave the table for someone else. Why did you squat here? Because from this angle you can see the side of Gui, or who is selling cold jelly. It is so beautiful. Zhang Xiaobao continued. If you say that again, I will beat you. The person directly reached out to grab Zhang Xiaobao's collar. Chapter 1258. In the blink of an eye, Wang Wan made a hand gesture to the surrounding people. Zhang Xiaobao reached out and grabbed the other person's wrist. Big brother, let's talk things out. What are you afraid of? Everyone loves beauty. The person tried to struggle, but found that he was not as strong as Zhang Xiaobao. At first, he was shocked, but after looking at Zhang Xiaobao carefully, he did not swing his other hand that was holding the bowl. He said to Zhang Xiaobao, Little brother, a real person doesn't show off. Even so, you can't slander Gui. Big brother is so strong. As expected of the leader of several people at the docks. You're good at work. Zhang Xiaobao said as he let go of the other person's hand. Wang Wan looked on calmly, not worried at all. The other person was just one person. Xiaobao could deal with him easily. If the other person was an enemy, he would have been knocked down in an instant. She and Xiaobao had a systematic training method. Moreover, they started training from a young age. The nutrition and equipment were all kept up. Not to mention Xiaobao, she could deal with that person easily. Unfortunately, the training method from a young age was not universal. For example, Xiao Bei and the others did not receive proper training until they were 4 years old. Otherwise, it would cause bone damage. Children were unable to accurately express their body's condition and did not have equipment to follow up with. They were unlike her and Xiaobao, who knew when to stop training. If other children were to train like this at 1 year old, they would definitely fail. They did not know how much their body could bear. Zhang Xiaobao did not dwell on the details of the other person attacking first. Instead, he continued to ask in a friendly voice, Big brother, I'm just curious. At the same time, I have some thoughts. Do you have that kind of relationship with Gui? Is she your brother's wife, or is she a widow? You, how did you know? The person was shocked. He lowered his head and sighed. Sigh. You're right. She's the wife of one of my brothers. She's also a widow. It's been 5 years. That brother of mine has been dead for 5 years. When he was carrying a log, he accidentally fell off the pedal and was crushed to death by the log he was carrying. He left behind a 7-year-old daughter and a 4-year-old boy. Zhang Xiaobao revealed a sad expression and explained softly, Big brother, I've said something that makes you sad. But I have to say that I don't want to make you suffer. I have a way to make other people's lives better. Normally, when buying starch jelly, there shouldn't be extra soup. Furthermore, it should be a mixture of sweet, sour, and salt. This was used to quench one's thirst and to relieve one's summer heat. Especially starch jelly with broad bean powder. Drinking a bowl of it during normal work would make one feel very comfortable and could restore one's physical strength to a certain extent. She gave you more cold jelly because she was familiar with you. She gave you a special bowl because she was close to you. You didn't take up a spot because you wanted to leave it for someone else. You squatted here because you could look at her when she wasn't looking. You gave her money because you didn't want to make her life difficult. She came to sell starch jelly with soup specially prepared for people like you who worked at the docks. Looking at her figure, she had children. She sold things at a place where a group of men worked and didn't receive any teasing or harassment. This in itself was abnormal. So, either she was the wife of one of your brothers who worked at the docks, or she was a widow. And a widow who was protected by you guys. Moreover, she only prepared another bowl, and that bowl was for you to use. If you say that there's no relationship between you two, who would believe it? Either she needs you to take care of her husband, or there's only a layer of paper between you two. But no one is willing to break it. Now I know. You think that if you say it out loud, you'll let down your dead brother, but you're afraid that she can't take care of 2 children by herself. She doesn't want you to look down on her and think that she's a shameless woman. After Zhang Xiaobao finished speaking, he sighed. There were too many helplessness in the world. Just like the song, the joys and sorrows of the world were as easy as turning over one's hand. Looking at the green mountains and blue waters, one can't help but wonder. Wang Wan also stood up and came to Zhang Xiaobao's side. She looked at the person in front of her and didn't say anything. She didn't want to comfort him because he seemed to be strong enough. She didn't want to say that Gui, who sold starch jelly, was suffering, because the gentleness in the heart of this man who worked at the docks didn't need to be stirred up. This person was about to go silly. He stared at Zhang Xiaobao in shock. After a while he swallowed his saliva and asked, Since you guessed it then tell me, other than the fact that I feel sorry for my dead brother, what other reason is there that I don't want to tell her? It's because she doesn't have much pressure to survive. Her daughter and son are taken care of by the school. Usually, she can get a sum of money from the court every month. She doesn't have to pay taxes for her business. Especially recently, the number of bailiffs patrolling outside her house at night has increased significantly. Zhang Xiaobao replied. Brother, how do you know all of this? This person was obviously stunned by Zhang Xiaobao's words. It was too amazing. How is this possible? The former is the welfare of the court. The latter is because the local officials want to keep their position and their heads. Tell me, when Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were in Izhou, what would happen if someone knocked on the widow's door in the middle of the night? The heads of the yamen would pay a heavy price for this. Therefore, you feel that she can live well without you. So you don't have the courage to say what's in your heart. She's such a good woman, living with 2 children, doing things quickly, and can support herself. She's also not bad looking. The burden of supporting the family shouldn't be put on her. Otherwise, it's the incompetence of all men in the world, right? Zhang Xiaobao said again. This person nodded repeatedly. For a moment, he was at a loss. He felt that this person, who was younger than him, was too terrifying. What did he usually do? Wang Wan, on the other hand, had a blissful look on her face. It couldn't be like this. Why did Xiaobao always give people the impression that he was so smart and considerate? It was just eating liangpi, a very normal thing, but it actually gave him so much information. It seemed that those who were cheated in the past were not wronged at all. Your opponent is too strong. It's not your fault. After Zhang Xiaobao finished speaking, he turned around and was about to leave. This person reached out and grabbed Zhang Xiaobao's arm. Brother, my dear brother, give me an idea. You said that you would help me just now. Like you said, I really like Gui. In fact, many of my brothers know. They even advised me to take the initiative when we were drinking. But I don't dare. I haven't married yet. I always feel that I am not good enough for Guer. This woman is really too good. Tell me, as a person who works at the docks, what can I give her? Then do you know what she wants? Zhang Xiaobao asked back. This person shook his head. Zhang Xiaobao thought about it. He did not tell this person that Guer wanted a shoulder and someone to rely on. Instead, he said to this person, I hope that you can continue to work at the docks and lead a group of people to do things well. Also, gradually expand the team. Do the children in her family like you? It's okay. I used to go to Baby's Candy House to buy things for them to eat. It's a pity that Baby's Candy House doesn't sell cakes anymore. Her daughter's birthday is coming soon. During the new year, I promised to buy her a big birthday cake. This is troublesome. This person began to worry about something that seemed very small to an adult. Wang Wan pulled Zhang Xiaobao's clothes hem. Zhang Xiaobao immediately said, There will be cakes, and there will be sodas. Why do you sound so awkward? Big brother, don't worry. I will help you think of a way. You can see that I don't have bad intentions. Just now when my wife asked for soup, she gave me an extra copper coin. I won't take advantage of others. I will ask Guer to return it. When the other person heard this, he thought that they were complaining about the copper coin. Don't. Zhang Xiaobao quickly stopped him. You don't lack a copper coin. The future is long. Big brother, how about I provide you with a feasibility report? Don't talk nonsense. Wang Wan rolled her eyes at Zhang Xiaobao. What feasibility report? Big brother doesn't understand. Just tell me what to do. I believe that big brother will listen to you. Yes. Sister-in-law knows more. Brother, you have to listen to your wife more in the future. This person smiled at Wang Wan. There was no expression in his eyes that should not be there. Wang Wan was so beautiful that normal men would not be able to look straight at her. Perhaps some perverted people could look straight at her, but if they knew who Wang Wan was, they would probably regret it very much. Zhang Xiaobao really wanted to scold the other person. Just now, you said not to be controlled by your wife. In the blink of an eye, you changed sides? Looking at the busy situation at the docks, Zhang Xiaobao said to this person, How much longer do we have to finish work? I don't know. If you are not tired, continue working. If you are tired, take a break. Now that there are many boats coming and going, take the opportunity to earn more money. Other than me, there are 22 brothers who have families. Children are actually harder to raise than before. Why are they hard to raise? Isn't there a school to take care of them? Wang Wan asked. Sister-in-law, you asked a good question. When I said raise them, I meant raise them well, not raise them. It is easy to raise them, and there is no need for the family to fork out money. The family has to buy books for the children to read, have to specially boil water for them to bathe every day, have to make beautiful new clothes, have to prepare good candles, or else the adults will lose face. People will say, look at the imperial court, Xiaobao, Cuckoo, and the others helping you raise your children, but you don't do anything for them. Whose children are they? I don't have children, so I raised Guer's children as my own. Especially her son. The last time he called me father, Guer was still there. I was so scared that I ran out of her house without even putting on my shoes. This person's face immediately turned red when he talked about what he thought was embarrassing. Zhang Xiaobao shook his head. This stupid thing. The woman already taught her child to call you father, but you actually ran away. Your IQ and EQ need to be tested. You are a weirdo. That big brother, do you know how to do carpentry? Zhang Xiaobao could only change the topic. I don't. You don't know how to saw wood and make a table? Of course, I don't know how to do carpentry. Carpenters need to carve, engrave, paint, inlay and carve. This person answered honestly. Zhang Xiaobao suddenly understood. Yes, it is not easy to be a carpenter these days. You need to have professional qualities. The money you earn is not much, but the relevant skills are definitely not lacking. Wealth, it is the wealth of treasures. Zhang Xiaobao then said to this person, How about this, big brother? See if you can let your brothers take a break. I will go back with you to Guer's house and make some things. After that, we can earn more money. From tomorrow onwards, Guer will not have to come out to sell herself. No, if she doesn't come out to sell, what will she do? People will become stupid if they are bored. This person disagreed. Please listen to me slowly, Zhang Xiaobao said as if he was singing. Chapter 1259. Brother, I still don't know your surname, the other party asked Zhang Xiaobao. My surname is Zhang, and my name is Xiaobao. What's your surname, big brother? Zhang Xiaobao replied. Brother, don't joke around. My surname is Liu, and my name is Pan. My father found someone to give it to me. He said it means tenacity or something. Anyway, my life is very tough. What's your name? The person who called himself Liu Pan asked again. My name is actually Zhang Xiaoyu. Brother Liu, shouldn't you find someone to come back? Zhang Xiaobao had no choice but to make up a fake name. Come back. Little brother Zhang, do you really have a way to make money? Liu Pan was still hesitating. Really? Making money is very easy, especially small amounts. Zhang Xiaobao had a confident expression. Liu Pan was still worried and hesitant. Zhang Xiaobao simply took out a handful of money and stuffed it into Liu Pan's hand. Brother Liu here. Take it as a deposit. If I'm wrong, the money is yours. Liu Pan glanced at the money in his hand and was shocked. He looked at the denomination of the notes. They were all 10 strings of coins. Luo estimated that there were at least 300 strings of coins. He quickly stuffed the money back. I believe you. Wait a moment. Sister-in-law, go take it too. I still need her help. Zhang Xiaobao reminded again. Okay, I'll take it all. Liu Pan saw that the other party took out a lot of money and thought about himself. He realized that it was not worth it to be cheated once. Liu Pan first ran to the stall selling liangpi and told Gui'er. He threw down the bowl and ran to the dock to discuss the handover. Under normal circumstances, it was not easy to find someone to take over the work halfway. If the work was not done well, for example, there was a problem with the stacking, and the person behind took over, earned a portion of the money, and took all the responsibility. That would be stupid. Liu Pan probably wanted to give up all the money, and then use his reputation as a dock worker to give the benefits to others. He would then be able to recruit his brothers back. Xiaobao, what are you trying to do? Wang Wan still did not understand. She only knew that Xiaobao thought of a way to make money with liangpi. To her, it was normal. The question was whether the return was proportional to the effort. What else can we do? Give a demonstration. As the saying goes, I'll make an example and let everyone see that a simple industry can also play well with the 12 national policies. Most of the people are still observing. When they see that I'm successful, they'll be willing to follow suit. Under normal management, the role of the leader was very obvious. Many things were actually ruined by the officials. Some of the officials were kind enough to govern the area, but the other officials were not thinking about the situation of the area, but how to cause trouble, and thus determine their own position. In the end, when someone raised a contrary opinion, not only did this group of officials not humbly accept the correction, but they also talked about great principles. For example, if they wanted to do more, they had to protect their position and let themselves be in a better place. Or they might say something like, in the Jianghu one has no choice. Well, you are in the Jianghu. In order to do more things that benefit the common people, you first have no choice but to embezzle, accept bribes, flatter, and speak empty words. All along, you have the idea of doing more for the common people in the future, and all along, you did things against your will. Others who wanted to do things for the common people were eliminated by you. You finally reached the position of the head of department, and then, don't Xiaobao, in the Great Tang, there is no head of department, nor is there a situation where the municipal party secretary is a vice minister of the standing committee of the provincial party committee. Let's talk about the current situation. Wang Wan interrupted Zhang Xiaobao. Okay, all the way to the position of a 3rd grade or 4th grade provincial governor. You found that because you used the excuse of climbing up the ranks in the Jianghu to get rid of many officials who were willing to do things for the common people. While you were in a high position, you did countless things to harm the common people. So now, you need to start doing things for the common people and realize your original life dream. You, on the other hand, Need to explain to the people who came to you that you are now a provincial governor, not a village chief or county magistrate. If you care too much, how can the people under your rule live? If you do everything, what can the people under you do? So as the secretary, oh no, as the provincial governor, you mainly care about people. If you maintain the balance between the officials under you, you will be successful. And you will also say that many people don't understand you. In this position, there are too many things to consider. You have to maintain the overall correct path and not be biased. At the same time, you are under a lot of pressure from the capital. It is you who desperately communicate with the higher-ups to maintain the stability of the local development. Harmony. Many common people don't know the importance of harmony. In the process of development, there will definitely be problems. But do we not do anything in order to not make mistakes? The officials in the capital are watching, and so is the emperor. Then why can't we maintain a harmonious scene, so that the higher-ups can see prosperity? Do we have to make small problems infinitely bigger? Problems do exist, but we can't stop development because of problems. As the municipal party secretary, oh no, as the provincial governor, the production of the entire province, no, the GDP of the people has doubled compared to previous years, a growth rate of 100%. The average income of the common people has reached 1,500 copper coins per month. What does this mean? It means that the path I have been taking is right. As for how the 1,500 copper coins are averaged out, it doesn't matter. I gave you the opportunity to develop, but you didn't work hard. You dragged down the GDP, so how can you have the nerve to complain? And a small number of people are facing difficulties in their lives. This is the pain brought by the reform and development. As the provincial governor, I have to take care of the majority of the people, not a few people who don't have the ability to develop and adjust themselves. Do you want me to directly give money to people who don't have a good life? That would be instilling lazy thoughts in the entire province. Wife, why aren't you against me? Zhang Xiaobao said a lot of things and all of them were true. After he finished speaking, he seemed to have vented his feelings and was in a good mood. However, he found that Wang Wan didn't interrupt him like before. Wang Wan sighed softly. Xiaobao, you said so much about the situation that existed at that time. Then tell me, how should I change it? Don't be like that person called Lang something Ping more than 100 years ago. He spouted a bunch of nonsense. Now that things have happened, what's the use of him saying nonsense to sell himself? He only knows how to act like an actor on TV, but he doesn't talk about how to solve and prevent the problem. Many fools listen very seriously and think that he is very impressive. Then tell me now, how do you solve the problem and not keep criticizing it when you know the problem? Don't talk about solving the problem of governance. According to what you said, from the section chief level to the central government, they are all rotten. Even if you can take them all down, who will fill in the positions during that time? You can just take down a mayor and find a normal person to tell him that you are now the mayor. Do you think he will be the mayor? If you take them all down at once, the country will collapse. Zhang Xiaobao was stunned after hearing this. After thinking about it, he admitted, yes, I have been criticizing it in the past, but it is useless. I need to solve it. China belongs to everyone, so I have to start with myself. If I feel that society's imagination is wrong, the first thing to consider is what I have done. If my actions are to go with the flow, I have no right to criticize others. I should not be thinking about going against the flow. What I need to do is to do my best to guide. The solution you asked me for is actually very simple. The reason for this problem is one of the problems of China's bureaucracy since ancient times. The other is the problem of economic expansion. To solve the bureaucracy, the upper echelons need to have absolute control over the military. They need some people to replace the current officials. If it is difficult, then solve the economic problem. First, investigate the illegal merchants at the bottom and punish them harshly. Let the people have a sense of hope and expectation for the upper echelons. Then investigate the merchants in the middle. They have been playing the role of a link. After investigating them, the people will realize that the situation around them has changed. Then it will be a political game to get rid of the illegal upper echelons. At the same time, strengthen the country's military in advance to prevent a large amount of money from flowing out and being protected by other countries. Then what if there is a protective umbrella when investigating the merchants? Wang Wan nodded and asked, "Protective umbrella? Let their opponents deal with them. The upper echelons only need to take down a small portion of the officials under the protective umbrella. The strong ones will send a signal to the other officials under the protective umbrella to let them fight each other. Then the upper echelons will laugh at the situation. The final result is that the officials under the protective umbrella will first make a move on the forces under their protection. They are all shameless anyway. They can just find an excuse and compromise with their opponents at the same level. Only then can they keep their position or step down with dignity. During this process, encourage the people to sue the officials. According to the normal principle of fairness, let the people win a few more times to give the people confidence. Then for 5 to 10 years, some of the officials will not dare to secretly collude with the merchants. After they retire, the new officials will want to collude with the merchants again. However, they will realize that the people are no longer the people they used to be. They know how to resist. Even if the leaders at the top change, they have no choice but to follow this rule." Zhang Xiaobao explained his method of changing a common social phenomenon. He started with the merchants. Although a portion of the merchants would be wronged, if others could suffer, why couldn't they? Then do you think the people will listen? As you said before, many of the people are not complaining about the bad society. They are complaining that they can't occupy a position where they can get more benefits. They scold the officials and profiteers because they can't be officials and profiteers. How do you think we should change it? Wang Wan asked another question that was difficult to answer. Losses. Use losses to exchange, Zhang Xiaobao answered. How? Who are we going to lose? Wang Wan asked again. We will lose the country's economic and international political interests. We will raise the industry standards for foreign investors. We will even confiscate the assets of foreign investors. We will show a strong stance internationally and suppress the neighboring countries. The upper echelons can even broadcast a strong speech on TV and scold people. This way, the people will feel that their country is very powerful. Although it is an illusion, at least they will feel that their backs are straight. The result is that the countries that trade with our country will be very angry. They will use various means to sanction China's foreign enterprises and be politically isolated for a short time. However, there is no need to be afraid of a large-scale war that will destroy the world. It will be a long process to get through this period and then make concessions internationally. But if we want to keep the roots of this nation, we must do it. First, we will mention the pollution of the enterprises and cause public opinion. Then we will investigate and pull down some of the officials and give a hint to the opponents of the same officials in other places. Then we will investigate every official who is exposed. After Zhang Xiaobao finished, he waved his hand. Don't talk about it. It's useless. Let's talk about it now. I want to use practical actions to tell the people of the Tang Empire that cold jelly can also be made on a large scale. Let them see it, and they will learn. And then we won't go to war. We can use it to divert domestic conflicts and give the Ministry of Works Technology some time to adapt to the civilian application. From then on, all problems will no longer be a problem within a few years. Zhang Xiaobao liked the current system more and more. The emperor had so much power. It was so easy to do things. Wang Wan knew that Xiaobao might not attack the previous system in the future because he knew it was useless. But Xiaobao's words were worth thinking about. If the upper echelons had the same idea at that time, they might have handled it better. They were playing this game, thinking that there would be a period of peace on this matter in the future. Wang Wan was in a good mood. Suddenly, she thought of a question and asked, "Why did you start with cold jelly? Was it a coincidence?" "Because there are more broad beans in Sichuan. I can always be stupid and find something that doesn't exist in the area to make a sample, right? That's pure idiocy." Zhang Xiaobao winked at Wang Wan. You're tuning into the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.